In this podcast, we look at the leadership journeys of our leaders in different industries and sectors. Started from nothing.
Yes.
And you made it into what, 20 billion?
Yeah. Started from zero.
How they overcome diversity, their triumphs, their fears, the challenges and the failures that they have to face in their leadership journey.
I sent 100 applications.
Wow.
I got 98 rejects.
What? We also take several lessons from our guests on how to get ahead in our careers and build businesses that are way above the 99% of other businesses in their industry.
No board will fire you if you deliver. No one. No one. So be the person who delivers.
And position themselves to take advantage of the various opportunities that present themselves in the marketplace.
And the day you think that, let me hang on to this job because it's safe, there's nothing like safety in a job.
And also, more importantly, have more fulfilling lives. Today's guest will continue with a conversation on how to build sustainable generational wealth that will outlive us. He will teach us what that old saying, take care of the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves, which was reformulated by the great Scottish American businessman Andrew Carnegie, 1835 to 1919, means in our day-to-day lives and in our times.
Power of compounding is the sixth wonder of the world.
Yes.
People create wealth from saving. Saving is, I would say, 30% of the wealth creation.
Join me in welcoming Mr. Dominic Kiarie, the Chief Executive Officer, Jubilee Asset Management Limited. Welcome, Dominic.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mary.
Karibu
It's a pleasure
sana.
to be on your show.
Okay.
And it's very good to see the wonderful things you're doing.
Our viewers cannot wait to hear, you share your journey,
Right.
the leadership nuggets,
Yes.
your wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, so we really can't wait. So we want to dive right
Okay.
into the conversation.
Okay.
Maybe if you can just start by telling us, because we know sometimes we think leaders were born the way we see them today.
Yes.
But I also know that each of us came from somewhere.
Indeed.
We started somewhere.
Indeed.
So could you kindly tell us where you came from, those early years, where were you born, by who,
Yes.
etc., etc.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mary. But before I start, first of all, let me start by congratulating you. I think
you.
I've known you for over 25 years. I was
Yeah,
trying
25,
to...
yeah. It's
I think
more than 2 decades.
More than 2 decades. You did a remarkable job in Equity Bank. Equity Bank has made huge transformation.
Yeah,
and it's
you.
wonderful to see that the things you're doing, telling the stories of leaders out there. So it's a pleasure to be on this show.
I really appreciate your support.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just a little bit about myself. So yes, I grew up in a large family, in a family of 8. I'm not the eldest. I'm the third one, but a very loving family. I grew up in Rift Valley, in Nakuru.
Wow.
In the 70s and the 80s. Because my parents were obviously from Central Province, originally from Central Province, but they met in Nakuru. After independence, if you recall, there were a lot of job opportunities. So my dad used to work in a bank, my late father, my mom used to work in a bank. So my father saw this beautiful young woman from Oranga, and they got married. So we lived. They met in Nakuru. We all grew up in Nakuru.
So were they both from Muranga?
No. My father, our late dad is originally from Githongori. So my
Kiambu.
roots, Kiambu. So my roots are Kiambu.
Kiambu.
Yes. But if you recall, in the 20s, during the colonial times, when the colonialists raised taxes so that the youths could actually go and work in the settlers' farm.
Yes.
So my late grandfather and great-grandfather moved from Kiambu to Molo in the settlers' farm so they could earn some wages
Yes.
and pay the hard tax. Remember, so there was a huge migration from Central to
the
Rift Valley, the settlers farm. So my father also in his younger days spent some time in Molo near Turi. So he had those connections. So that's how they ended up, starting their family in Nakuru. It was a very, very beautiful town. Still is. They have a farm in a place called Bahati.
Nakuru.
So that's where my home is. So I did all my primary school in Nakuru. And then I went to Mang'u High School for my high school.
Wow.
So Mang'u was very transformational for me.
We had Dr. Gidenji Getahi here, and he also went to Mang'u.
No, Gidenji was actually behind me.
He was behind you.
I remember him very well.
He was on this show the other day.
Yes, it's good to hear. No,
a fantastic story.
Yeah, Gidenji, full of energy.
Now with the Ambref as the CEO.
Yeah, so I went to Mang'u, and there are a lot of things I did when I was in school. I was extremely active. I was a captain of the hockey team. I did public speaking for my school. In fact, I represented my school in verse speaking. I was the chairman of the science club. I was the editor for the journalism club. And I was also the head boy.
Wow.
So I did all those things. And also academically, we pushed ourselves, and I was, among the top students. Then.
So what I'm hearing is that you started taking leadership roles quite early in your, when you're still young in age.
Yes.
Because that time you're just in high school.
Yes, that's correct.
And yet now you're carrying all those other extracurricular responsibilities as a leader.
Yes.
So would you say that involvement in school activities and leading at that level had any contribution towards, your journey as a leader and what you have become today?
That's correct. It did prepare me. For example, when I was in school, I remember I used to be in the drama club. Drama club involved being on stage and actually, acting. So it develops skills of confidence. You're able to speak to people, etc. So I would say being involved in a lot of activities at a young age, be they drama, be they sports, there's certain skills that you start to gain. So I was you start building
at a very early age.
Indeed. And I was very fortunate because I think growing up, if I look back at our household, our mother was extremely hardworking. I'm sure from the place where she comes from, extremely hardworking. So she nurtured hard work in us. As I said, we grew up family of 8, 4 boys, 4 girls. And for her, there was no, you're a boy, you couldn't go to the kitchen.
Oh, the work is for everyone.
The work is for everybody.
No boy, no girl here.
No boy, no girl. We learned how to cook.
So did you cook ugali?
I cooked many things. I could even, I remember those days, I could even bake a cake, I think, when I was, yes, 9, 10 years.
Can you do chapati?
Very well.
Oh, okay.
So I used to cook from a young age, and our mother's philosophy was very simple. I am training you to go and be independent in the world.
Yes.
So if I don't train you,
do things for yourself.
Exactly. If I don't train you on how to cook, surely you'll end up and you'll be depending on others.
Yes.
So we had to learn to cook, to clean the house, to wash our clothes. Those days are no washing machine.
Yes.
And if I look back, that industry permeates. That's what made us industrious in school, because that's what made us excel. And even in the workplace, I find myself, I'm usually working hard, etc. So the foundation
and moving things here and
moving things there, I think is the home and of course the school. So yes, I think being involved in those leadership activities prepared me for all the leadership roles that I've had over the years.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yes.
So Mangu, did you do both O levels and A levels?
No. So I went to Mang'u High School for my A levels. So I finished my A levels in the sort of late, I think in 1988, if I recall. And I did. Mang'u was a science school, so I did maths, physics, and chemistry. Those days it used to be called the maths people combination. Yeah, and we used to compete very, very strongly with Alliance. So even I remember when you used to study, you'll see students writing, God, please help us beat Alliance. The good news is when I did my A levels, we actually beat Alliance. We were the top school in the country.
John Gashora was here.
Yes.
Alliance.
I went to Alliance.
And I asked him whether what Dr. Gedenji was saying, those guys are spoon-fed.
Yes.
Was it true? And he said, no. There was no spoon-feeding in Alliance.
Yeah, what I know for sure.
You worked very hard.
Yeah, we worked very hard. There was an industry of hard work that I did not see, and excellence. In fact, when I joined Mangu, it was very clear. Passing was not an issue.
Yes.
The issue is excelling. So
how did you pass?
Exactly. Did you excel?
Not whether you passed.
No, not whether you passed, but did you
pass very well?
Exactly. And it was both in academics and in sports.
Yes.
That's why even in sports, we used to play with the Lions and we wanted to win because those two schools were, very, very strong competitors.
You challenge each other.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes.
So those were very, very good years, if I recall. They were extremely formative for me. And because I did the sciences, naturally the thing to do in Mangu, whether you went to do medicine or you went to do engineering. Yes.
Okay, do you have any memories from your childhood days that you'd like to share with us?
So one of the memories,
the boy escapades and
I did many things. The usual things because I grew up in Nakuru town in an estate. And those days the estates were very, very safe. So we played with the other boys. But what I remember when I was 16, and I'm sure you don't believe this, I actually walked from Nakuru to Nairobi on a pilgrimage of faith. Yes. We were very. I was raised up I was raised up in a.
That's like 200.
No, it's 160 kilometers.
160 kilometers.
But for 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah, so we did 40 kilometers every day. It was a big group.
With other boys?
Yeah, it was a big group. It was
a church group.
Yes. I was part of the young Christian students. So I was about 16, and it was a pilgrimage of faith. I think the Pope was visiting the country. I remember it was 1986.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's 86. The Pope came. Pope John Paul.
Exactly. So we had people traveling, walking from Nakuru to Nairobi. Others I remember from Nyahururu. All part of young Christian students. So I decided this is an adventure. I went for it. And 4 days. So we walk 4 days. We sleep in the schools. Our mattress will be carried by lorry. 4 days. Wow. So when I look back, I said, how did I do it?
Wonderful. Can you do that today?
Today, maybe I'll have a team of somebody with a truck, with water.
Oh, yes. It will be very comfortable.
Yeah. So we did those things. We did lots of adventure. I remember even when we were young, we walked. There was one time we actually walked all the way to Menengai Crater when we were boys, maybe 8, 9 years. So we did the things that boys had to do. There was a lot of adventure those days.
Yes. Wow. Now, as the head boy at Mangu, what would you say was your leadership style then?
Okay.
Because I'm sure, you have all these boys, you're supposed to make sure everyone is towing the line.
Yes.
Everyone is disciplined. Yes. Of course, some will do the wrong things. Yes. How did you handle that? So, those days being the head boy, if I recall, I think it was more... You were the voice. It wasn't more like you have to discipline students because the discipline standard was very high. It was more you had to communicate. I remember when you had assembly, I was always called to more inspire them. So I did lots of inspiration speeches. Yes. We had lots of events. So as a head boy, you'd be called to say one or two things. Of course, there were one or two issues around discipline, but not as much as what you hear. Not extreme. So no, it was a very good time. For example, during the dinner, the head boy, you say something to the boys. So very, very good experience. So what you do is impart the values and tell them this is why we need to do things this way. Absolutely. And these are the benefits. This is how it's going to help you. To the future, building character. Absolutely. Okay. That's amazing. So how did it go? How did you perform in school? I did very well. Academically, I must say I was very fortunate. Our late dad, who also went to Mangu. So the reason why I went to Mangu. Oh, he had gone to Mangu. He had gone to Mangu. My brother went to Mangu. And those days, remember, he went to Mangu in the late 50s, 60s. So Mangu was the school for the Africans. Remember the African elite that people went to now, post-independence, they became ministers. Kibaki went to Mangu. Yes. Tom Mboya, people like those. And of course, there was Mangu and the Lions. Yes. So he spoke, and those days the schools were run by missionaries. So they had very, very high standards. So he spoke very highly of Mangu. So as I was growing up, I knew the school to go to. You aspired to go there. Yeah. So he guided us very well. We went to Mangu, which was very, very good because clearly it imparted very strong values. And the other thing about him, and of course may he so rest in peace, is that he was very gifted academically. I mean, he worked in the banking, but he had a very strong passion for education, for reading. Yes. And when we were young, we actually used to read quite extensively. I remember I read a book called The Grain of Wheat by Ngugi wa Thiong'o when I was actually 11 years. Was I 11, 12? Wow. Yeah. That was a set book. It was a set book. Secondary school. I did. I read cover to cover. You read it at 11? Yes, I read it at 11. And so the time my dad's friend came to the house, he actually called me, come sit there and tell these guys the stories, the characters. Wow. So I was there, trying to piece
tell this
the story together.
Yes, indeed, yeah. And because he went to university, I remember when I used to go to secondary school, he'll ask me, and he had his library. Have you read this? Have you read this? So one time I decided, you know what, I'm going to take all these books, I go with them to school, make sure by the time I finish the term, I'll come back and told him I've actually read these books.
And I can tell you the story.
I can tell you the story.
Wow.
Yes. So that reading, which I think it's important when you study at a younger age, and it used to guide us. So I think academically we're very, very fortunate. I think all members of our family we're top, either in those days, number 1, number 2, or number 3. Yeah,
so that means that you started the culture, building the culture of reading when you were still very young.
Exactly.
Did you continue with that?
I continued
into the older years.
Even up to now. If you come to my house, I'll introduce you to my
about the book.
I'm a voracious reader.
So what's the book you're reading now, or the latest?
Okay,
or
so I
your
read,
favorite book?
Yes, so I read a couple of books. So I mix business. My passion is business, as you know. I build business. So I read lots of business books.
Yes.
I mean, my favorite has been books on Amazon. Jeff Bezos, I mean, he's very outstanding. I think he's one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time, just because of Amazon.
Yes.
So I've read his story. Of course, there's Elon Musk.
How he built Amazon.
How he built Amazon from an idea. Of course, being in the US, it's a different market. He was able to raise money. But just the idea of how he built Amazon and the problem he was trying to solve.
Yes.
And how Amazon has become today. Because remember when Amazon started?
Yes.
It's a very simple idea. Buy books online, right? And he built on that, buy books online, to now buy everything online.
Yes.
And what I found amazing about him, when you read about his books, is he learned more from his failures. You know, the things we see is, he succeeded, he's a billionaire. Beyond that, they're the failures. And it's the failures that actually gave him the critical learning.
He took the lessons from them.
Yeah. And then if you see how he's diversified, Amazon, the biggest earning stream is not even Amazon, it's actually the cloud business.
Yes.
Yeah, so he started going into these other businesses.
And diversifying as the market, and he understood the needs of the market.
Indeed.
At every stage.
Yes.
And expanded the offering.
Absolutely. So it's a great story, but for me, with those, because that's a story in the US, how do you replicate it to Africa? Because if you look at Africa is unbuilt. We have opportunities for businesses. We have a very huge youthful population. We have a population that is growing. So how do you replicate business successes in the West and we make it work in Africa? And that's one of the things one of the problems I try to solve. That's why I'm involved in business.
So what is the greatest lesson that you pick from that book that you could pass to our viewers?
Yes. So
the story of Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, from the story of Jeff Bezos.
I think for me it's the one where he says how the guys who are selling books, in the stores, the traditional bookstores, they were laughing at him.
Yes.
And because probably people did not understand this new way of selling books.
Yes.
But he went on, he pushed on and said, this thing is going to become big.
Yes.
But what lesson would you say has been the greatest lesson that you'd like to highlight?
Okay, so from that business book, the greatest lesson, I think for me, I would say is, number one, when you're going into business, to be very, very clear and to be singular, focus on one thing.
Yes.
Not many things, just one thing.
Just one.
When he started Amazon, he started with one thing, selling books online. Everybody laughed at him, as you said, so just focus. Start small and keep pushing. You will face obstacles. Those obstacles are opportunities for learning.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. Your breakthrough will come eventually.
Yes.
People forget that. They think, oh, no, this thing is too tough, let me give up. No. Breakthrough will come.
Yes.
You may take a break, you may do this, do that. Your breakthrough will come eventually.
Yes.
So be patient, be persistent, but do one thing.
Yes.
And only one thing.
Yes.
Once that thing has picked up and succeeded, because remember you're also building on the lessons, so see, okay, what else can I do that is connected to this one thing? Even as you diversify, don't start doing, you hear this is the new fad, you rush. You run there. Because you're spreading yourself too thin. Yeah.
So it's like being the hedgehog.
Exactly.
In strategy, we used to say that the hedgehog knows everything
Yes.
about one thing.
Exactly.
Everything.
Yes.
The fox, on the other hand,
Yes.
knows many small things about many different things.
Yes, yes.
So they are never able to focus.
Yes.
So what you're saying is your biggest lesson is be the hedgehog.
Be the hedgehog.
And have that one thing that you know everything about.
Yes, yes, and focus.
You can navigate anything around that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then the
Yes.
basis of that is the vision. You must think big.
Yes.
Think big. Like even Bezos. Jeff Bezos says, look, he's going to sell everything in the whole world. People laughed at him.
Yeah.
So as you do your one thing.
No one believed
No
him.
one believed him.
Yeah.
As you focus on one thing, just think big.
Yes.
And think big. Don't start discussing with people because people will.
They will pull you down.
What's wrong with this man? This man is.
No one has ever done this before. That's what people say.
Yeah. So you think big, think about yourself.
Yeah.
But do it. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Your breakthroughs will start come step by step, step by step.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think for me, if you allow me, the other story is to never give up.
Exactly.
However tough, because it got very tough for him.
Yes.
Even his colleagues abandoned him.
Yes. His colleagues.
Those are the ages.
Yes. Never ever give up.
Yeah.
He was very fortunate. He had a wife who supported him throughout.
The wife supported him throughout. Yes.
Never give up and just pursue your vision relentlessly. Keep pushing.
Yeah.
And you'll try things that will fail. And there's this notion that, oh my goodness, he tried and he failed, and people think failure is a bad thing. It's not. Moving to Jeff, going to this other gentleman of Microsoft, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I'm sure you all know, we've had stories about Bill Gates. One thing about Bill Gates when he was building his business, he used to employ people who have failed in starting a business. Yeah. So failure, and that's why I keep on telling people, if you've started something and it's not succeeded, you have not failed.
Yes.
You have learned what is not working. What cannot work.
One more thing that doesn't work. One more way it doesn't work.
Yeah, so you keep trying.
Yes.
You go to the bank, and I can tell you, I have now a very clear understanding of Kenya's ecosystem because of that, as you know, I've done corporate stuff.
Yeah, I know you've done quite a lot here. Yeah.
And you can go to the bank with the best idea. They will not give you the funding.
They look at you and they say, okay, come back next week.
Exactly. So talking about failure and going to Bill Gates used to employ people who have failed in business. And why was that?
Yes.
Because they had something in them.
Yes.
They had this passion, they could move things. So my encouragement to people who are starting out, whether you're in corporate and you feel you have failed, you have not failed. It's only what you've tried could not work. And that's a lesson.
Yes.
So keep moving. You move the next step, you hit a roadblock, it doesn't mean to say you're failing. And my advice to people would be, if you've seen an entrepreneur, somebody's trying something and he's down, don't start having those discussions. Oh, we told him he has failed. Don't do that. What you do is encourage him. And even yourself, if you feel you're down, don't listen to those voices. Say, you know what?
We knew this thing would not work.
Exactly. Pull yourself up and come up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the equity story. I mean, the equity story, I know people now is very successful.
Yes.
But there was that 20 years when Equity Bank started, because I know the equity
They were insolvent
story.
for 10 years.
Exactly. 10 years. Remember there was a time for 10 years.
Then another 10 years for turning around.
Exactly. Yeah.
So then growth.
Yeah. So for me, that's the second lesson. And the third lesson, just focus on what you want to, on what you want to achieve, on your legacy.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes we live other people's lives.
Yes.
We don't live our own life. Let's be authentic to ourselves. And be very clear what it is that you want to do. At the end of the day, it's about you want to leave a legacy. Our time in this world is not too long.
Yeah,
we may think it's we are here for
it's so limited.
Yeah. So this time that you have, what is this legacy? What impact do you want to have? If it's in business, yes, you may have these challenges, but eventually I keep on telling people things will come to pass, you will succeed. Yeah, you may have challenges raising funding, things will come. So stay focused, stay on your lane, keep pushing.
So make the most of the opportunities that we have.
Absolutely.
And keep pushing.
Exactly, keep pushing.
Until we get where we want
to get. And never, as you're saying, never, ever, ever. In fact, I'll put maybe 20 times, never, ever give up. Never. you may sort of just decide, okay, let me just pull back, take a sabbatical, let me do this for a while. That's okay. But never, ever lose sight of your vision, where you're trying to go. And don't live other people's life, live your own life. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for those nuggets from your favorite book.
Yes.
Now, let me go back to Mang'u.
Yes.
So, how did you perform?
Oh, how I performed. So I was a top student. I got straight A's.
Hey.
One of the top students because everybody is bright.
Yes.
I remember in our year we had 9. Remember Mangu?
You are one of those guys who are put in the newspaper.
Those days.
They never used to that time.
No, those days we never used to. Okay, you hear Mangu is number 1. We never used to have those.
Or they never used to have the students.
No.
But you'd have been there if it was today.
Yeah, so we had, to give an example, I remember we had the class of 98 who did A-levels.
Yes.
Out of 98, everybody got admitted to the university. It's only one person.
Wow.
And this one person, you know those days, you know how somebody would, he was not called, so of course he got
I'm sure he joined another college somewhere.
No, he succeeded. I remember meeting with him. I met with him in London a couple of years ago. He's very successful.
Wow.
So everybody succeeded. I mean, doctors.
And they went somewhere.
Yeah, Mangu, lawyers. So
engineers, architects.
Yeah. No, I did extremely well in my A-levels. I was a top student. In fact, when I finished Mangu, a few of us were called to join PricewaterhouseCoopers. There were only 2 from Mangu. Pricewaterhouse those days used to call a few people from A-level schools around Nairobi. So we had 2 from Mangu. We had, I think, 1 or 2 from Kenya High, Starehe, Alliance. So there was a group of us. I think we were about 10. So we go and learn a bit about accountancy so that we can change our minds and become accountants. So if you go and do engineering, you go and work with them.
That was who? PwC.
PricewaterhouseCoopers, yeah. It was a very good strategy of tapping the very best.
The best talent.
The best talent. Get them, not when they've graduated, but when they've graduated from A-levels.
So you are shaping their view about the career and what to do.
Yeah, so I got a job. I finished my level exam on a Friday. By Tuesday, I was actually
at PwC.
PwC working. I didn't have an ID, so I remember my first, second, third salary I was paid through petty cash.
You are being given a bahasha.
Because
we used to call it a bahasha.
Yes, I just turned 18. I'd not even applied for an ID.
No documents.
Yeah, no documents. So there are a few of us who...
But you know, that time there was very little crime. So even employers had an easy time.
Absolutely.
Because they know it's you, you. They'll give you cash.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so no big issue.
Yeah, then
and there was no AML regulations that time.
Exactly.
Anti-money laundering.
Those are the good days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, with your maths and physics
and chemistry,
yes, I would have expected you to go straight to engineering.
And by the way, that's what I did. That's what I did. So Mangu, those days, we used to have people going to do electrical. So myself, I said, look, I know electrical. I've got an uncle who's an electrical engineer, and that was before mobile.
Yes.
And most people who go do electrical. They go and do this heavy. Electrical, they become electrical engineer, and there was nothing inspiring.
Yes.
That was before mobile. So I said, look, I'm not going to do electrical. I'm going to choose to do civil.
Civil engineering.
Because I wanted something challenging. Mechanical.
What?
So
electrical is too easy for you?
I felt because everybody was doing electrical. So I said, why don't we try something different?
Something that not many people are doing.
Yeah, so I chose civil. I didn't know much about it. I knew it was about structure. So I chose civil. I got admitted to... Initially, I selected electrical, and then I changed to civil. So I got admitted to civil engineering. Yeah, so I was on the class of, and I went to National Youth Service. Those days used to have NYS, if you remember.
Yes, yeah, I went there too.
Oh, you went there?
I did.
So I went to National Youth Service for 5 months. So after Pricewaterhouse, National Youth Service, and then I joined University of Nairobi doing civil engineering.
Any story from NYS? We had some very interesting stories from Wamboi.
Yes, NYS. What I liked about NYS was an equalizer.
Yes.
Because you had, everybody from different families, the who's, the middle class, like us and others.
It didn't matter your status.
Didn't matter. We had to wake up at 4 a.m. for the 5BX.
All of us. Yes, and run in the dark.
Run in the dark. I remember talking about some of the things we used to do. So we'd run, and myself and a group of the people will actually decide to sky. So as people run, we slow down. Then we enter into this sort of tunnel. Yes. We'll get into. And then once they've disappeared, we'll go back to the barracks somewhere, and then just be in a place where we are, making ourselves warm. And then when you see our platoon coming back, we'll go and join them. I tried that once and said, look, if I'm going to do this again...
And you are not caught.
I said, if I'm going to court, I'll be in trouble. So I said, I'm not going to do it again.
So you tried once and it was too risky for you.
No, I tried once and I thought, no, this is too risky.
That's just because you were a prefect before. So your prefect behavior is still playing back to you.
Indeed. And I said, look, this is not good. So we used to run 5BX. As you know, there was a lot of matching.
Yes.
And I was in a company, which actually was the best company.
You were in Gilgil.
I was in Gilgil.
Yeah.
So in the best company, and you remember during the pass out,
Yes.
The best company, there were 3. You had the president had to do the inspection.
Yes.
So I remember President Moi. I was there with those days we used to have what are they? The spade.
Yes.
And the President Moi just passed in front of us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
you just feel like you are touching power.
I could smell this freshness of suit from a dry cleaner. And, you cannot turn your head.
Yes.
But it was, and then we did the slow march.
That was great.
No, it was very, very good.
It was great.
And there was a lot of things. There was the marching. There was we used to go to they had a farm in Nyahururu.
Yes.
And we used to get the speakers from government to talk to us. Of course, when they were talking, people were very sleepy. The people would be sleeping.
You never got enough sleep.
We never got enough sleep.
In NYS.
But it was a very good experience. I must say it was very, very good experience. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So from there, then I joined Nairobi University.
For engineering.
Yeah, for engineering.
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering. So I did the first term of civil, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And then I saw an ad. That time there was an insurance company called Kenya National Insurance.
Kenya National Insurance.
It was the largest insurance
that
company.
Was the government-owned insurance company.
So they were taking people overseas to study actuarial science.
What?
Yeah, actuarial science. Yeah, because Kenya didn't have any actuaries. I think they were from India, they're Europeans.
Okay. Yeah.
And they had taken 2 Kenyans. There was a German called Geoffrey Nzao and James Olubai, I think about 3 years ago. So
James Olubai of...
Yes.
He's now with...
Zamara.
Zamara.
Yeah, so James Olubai and Geoffrey Nzao, the first Kenyan actuary. They were the first lot to be sponsored by Kenya National Insurance. So they were looking for another lot of 3.
Wow.
So I just saw an ad in the newspaper. I said, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. Let me apply.
This looks interesting.
So I applied to this ad. They called me for an interview. So when they called me for an interview, I went. And remember those days, I went through my leadership experience.
Yes.
I was in drama. I was doing all these things. I'd done work at Resort House. So I was actually very, very confident.
So you are way above everybody else.
Yes, I was very, even when I went to the interview, very, very confident.
Very competitive.
I came top.
Wow.
In the interview. And there were 3 of us.
Yes.
So I was doing civil. I was selected. There was a gentleman who was doing mechanical. He was the second year. I was in first year. He was selected.
Yes.
And another gentleman who was doing electrical. In second year was selected. So the 3 of us. So we all got full paid scholarship to go to the UK. Those
fully paid.
So when I got the letter, you'll be very surprised. So I took it to one of my uncles and I said, you know what, I've got this scholarship. Remember now I was in Nairobi University, so I showed him this
You were
letter.
already doing civil engineering?
Yeah, I was doing civil. Yeah, right in civil.
I can't, I want to hear how that conversation goes now.
So when I showed him the letter was appointment as an actuary trainee. So I showed him the letter and I told him, these guys are taking me to the UK. He looked at it and said, forget it. These guys
What is this?
Yeah, what is this? Forget it.
This looks like a code.
Yeah. So, but what I did is, my dad was not in Nairobi.
What was your uncle doing?
So my uncle was a businessman here in Nairobi.
Yeah. Okay.
So, he was a businessman. He looked at it and said, no, forget it. You at Nairobi. What's your problem? Just continue.
Yeah, you're in a great course.
Yeah, in a great course.
Yes.
But I sought the counsel of my dad. I told my dad, look, these guys have given me a job.
This is where I am.
Yes, this is where I am. And they're going to give me a scholarship. So what do you think? He told me, he reflected, said, what is your feeling? I said, look, I think I should try it out. I've got nothing to lose.
And it's fully paid.
Yes. So what I decided to do is to take an academic leave of absence from Nairobi.
They allowed that.
They allows, So took this job. And I said, let me wait till they're going to take me to the UK.
So you knew if it doesn't work, you could always go back to your training.
Yes, exactly.
To
continue to my civil engineering. Yeah. But it worked out. They took us to the UK.
Wow.
I went to City University to do actuarial science.
Wow.
But I remember that scholarship, they were so strict. They said, if you do not get your minimum grades, they will cancel it.
You are out of the program.
And you're back to the country. So I went there knowing, okay, somebody's paying for my fees, and I really had to excel.
And their expectations.
Yes. No, did we not work hard?
What?
Now, I was actually the top student.
What? In that class?
Yeah, I got first class honors. Those are Chinese.
Actuarial science.
I got first class honors. I got five awards. And what happened when I graduated, I actually got an offer to do a PhD right away. There's a professor who I used to engage a lot. So he told me, Dominic, you've done a fantastic. Why don't you just come for a PhD? But I had gotten a job as an actuarial trainee in just south of London.
Now, which university is
this? Was City University of London.
City University of London.
It's part of the University of London. Yeah,
it's one of the top universities.
Yeah, it's one of the top. It's a fantastic. In fact, the actuarial program was the top globally.
Yes.
Yeah, it was top globally.
Wow.
So I went there, and it was very good. A very good experience. I remember first time in London. It's a very advanced country. Couldn't even use the tube. Yeah, very, very cold. So that transformed me. You know, this young boy grew up in Nakuru.
Suddenly
went to Mang'u High School.
Big city of London.
Bigger city. But when I trace my steps, it's those foundation of leadership at home, in school, having joined Pricewaterhouse House, that actually opened those doors for me.
For you.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. So that program was like for how long?
It was 3 years.
2 years?
No, 3 years.
Oh, 3 years for the degree?
Yes, Bachelor of Science. It's a normal Bachelor of Science, Actuarial Science. Fantastic program then.
Did you feel like your background in mathematics and etc.
Yes.
helped you to excel in this one?
Correct. In fact, you had to have a background in mathematics. Yes. So it was a very, very tough course. But because I had a strong background in mathematics, it really helped. Yeah, and I like the teaching. They had something called tutorial. Maybe in your days at university, tutorial was a very good way of imparting knowledge. You're not going for tutorials.
Yes.
Yeah, so we used to have, you go for lectures, and then you have a few of you, you will sit with the professor on a tutorial.
Yes.
So that those things that you're taught in the lecture, you could understand them better. I think for me, the real learning came through those tutorials. It was very, very fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so did you go for the PhD, master's and PhD program?
Yeah, so what happened is, so remember I was a student for 3 years in London. Students are usually very broke. And then I got a job.
And you got a first class honors?
I got a first class honors.
Wow.
Yeah, with five awards.
Wow.
So I was very fortunate.
So everyone wanted you.
Sorry?
Yeah, everyone wanted you.
Yes. I must say, yeah. So I got a job with a top actuarial consulting firm in the UK. It was very difficult to get a job, but I sent 100 applications.
Wow.
I got 98 rejects.
What?
100 applications.
You sent 100
applications.
98 came with a no?
Rejects. No. They will even read the name. Dominic Kiarie.
Kia what?
What's his name? In fact, people say, are you Russian?
What?
Kiarie. They've never heard of that name.
What?
So I got rejected. So I went for 2 interviews.
Times.
2 interviews.
Yes.
There's one I went, I remember, I'll not mention the employer in London. The moment I walked in, I could tell I'm not getting this job.
The 99th one?
The 99. And then I didn't get 100. Do you know what I did? So I sat in my room, I said, there's no way I'm going back home without a job. Because here I'm training as an actuary. I need to work with someone.
And this, let me ask you, Kenya National?
Yes, Kenya National.
Your sponsor?
Yes.
They had not required you to come back and work for them?
We had to, you had to qualify as an actuary, so you needed to work with a firm in the UK. So
for you to get full qualification.
And then you come back.
I see.
That was the plan. Yeah, they were both.
So you really need to work.
I needed to work. So I said, now I've missed out. I did all I can, worked very hard. So I said, there must be a way around here. So I looked at all the firms operating in Africa, and there was one firm called R. Watson and Sons. So what I did is I got the name of the international partner. And then I wrote this flowery letter. Even today, I can't believe that I wrote this letter. What? So I said, this is my name, from City, University of London. I'm very keen to be an actuary in Kenya. I'm going to help you set up an office in Kenya.
What?
At that age. I think he saw this letter and he was masked. I said, at 23-year-old thinking like this.
Imagine.
You know what he did? Because he was very senior.
They have guts.
Yes.
What?
He just wrote on my letter, he wrote to another partner in London. And I remember that partner, his name. So he wrote to him, Mr. PB, please see Dominic urgently and discuss his interest.
What?
So by the time I went to London to see this partner, the partner had instruction from this international partner.
So he's waiting for you?
So he's waiting for me.
Wow.
So we're chatting, oh, the way he's gone to Kenya on holiday, blah, 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 blah. And then he told me, yes, we're going to give you
a chance.
So they gave me the job. If you look at the list of the new graduates, Oxford, Cambridge, Warwick, myself, I was last. So my name was just put last. That's
among the ones they picked.
Yes. So no. Remember, they had finished. They had
already finished the selection.
Yeah. So remember now, I'm writing the international partner.
So you are now an addition after the legal.
I was an addition. But it's because I managed to just talk my way.
Yes.
And this company, among the 98 rejects, it came from the HR of this company.
Wow.
But again, I went out of my way.
Yes.
And I wrote to the international partner, and he managed to open the door.
So you said you will not take no for an answer.
No.
I will not take no for an answer.
No.
And it does no harm.
Exactly.
To write that letter to the big boss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wrote the letter. It was very flowery.
That's what
all
you
these
did.
Things I could do.
Yeah.
And I managed to get myself in the door.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I remember during the we had 6 weeks training.
Yes.
So in the second week, that's when the call from Citi to do a PhD came. Now remember, I have tasted my first month's salary.
Yes.
Here I was a broke student in London. London is very expensive.
You had nothing.
Now here I'm getting salaries in pounds. I said, I'm going to do a PhD again.
I live by a salary.
Let me qualify. I knew I'll do a PhD later on.
Yes.
But let me qualify first, since I have a job.
Yes.
So that's why I decided to give up on that PhD.
At that point in time.
At that point in time. So I continued the job. We had a 6 weeks training. It was extremely rigorous. So we did nothing but being trained. And even some of the training we did in those 6 weeks, I can still remember some of the videos they're showing us.
Yes.
So so within 6 weeks, we did an exam. Again, I came top.
Wow. You beat all the Oxford and Cambridge students who had been preferred to you.
Yes. But then when I went there, there's something that struck me. I said, there are 2 universities called Cambridge and Oxford. I must figure out these universities.
Yes.
I knew about them historically.
Yes.
But I could even see, because one of my housemates actually went to Cambridge and he did chemistry.
Yes.
He was brilliant. And the way you do stuff very quick. I knew these universities, there's something in them.
There's something about them.
And I had an ambition to do a master's. I said I will do a master's degree either in Cambridge or in Oxford.
Only those 2.
Only those 2. Yeah. Just go for the best.
Yes.
I mean, if they're all
and everybody wants those ones.
Yeah. And for me, I thought if the top consulting firm wants only Oxford and Cambridge, there must be something about this university. Why can't I go there? I know my parents could not afford, but graduate degree is not about your parents affording. Money. There's a lot of money out there. Oh yeah. Find a way. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's when my seed of doing a master's degree started, and I said I will do a master's before too long.
Wow. 3
years later, is it 3 or 4? I was actually in the University of Cambridge.
So you are still working with Watson?
No. So I worked in Watson, and Watson, the plan was for me to go and work in their office in Zimbabwe. They had an office in Zimbabwe before they set up in Kenya.
Yes.
Which was okay because it was very difficult to get a work permit those days. But I couldn't get a work permit to work in Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
I think when they saw, UK firm applying, there's an African, they thought they wanted maybe a British. So they said no, I don't know why.
Oh, they refused.
So I said no problem. So the other alternative I did, since I couldn't, my work was 1 year, they couldn't fix me in the UK, I decided to actually go and work in South Africa. Yeah, because South Africa was opening
Their
up.
office in South Africa.
They didn't have an office in South Africa, so I moved on and I worked with an insurance company.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, to continue my training as an actuary. Yeah.
But that's still okay because it's still in the actuarial line.
Yeah. Because the other place to train is either South Africa or the UK, or unless you go to the US, which is a different system. So I said, if I can't get a job in the UK, we just try South Africa. And there's some Kenyans who started going to South Africa.
Okay.
So I applied South Africa, then I got about 3 or 4 offers. From a mutual.
You took one of them.
I took one of them. Yeah.
Oh, that's very exciting. So how long did you stay in South Africa?
So South Africa I stayed for 3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 years, and that was enough for me.
Then after that, what happened?
I went back to graduate school. I went to University of
so
Cambridge.
now you went to Cambridge?
Yes.
For your master's?
For my master's.
Okay.
Yes.
So now your second dream now is coming to reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was in South Africa, but South Africa just opened up from the apartheid. But I must say, at the time it was really a fractured society. I mean, like, for the first time I realized that I'm actually black. I mean, I used to be in the UK.
You could feel it.
You could feel it.
Even in the workplace.
Oh, in the workplace. Oh, people discuss with you. People are grouped. You know, you're black, you're colored, you're white.
And you are treated separately, differently.
So I'll be asked, did you meet with your friends from Zimbabwe because they're black? I'll say, I can't have any friends here. Yeah. So I must say they went through very, very, I mean, the apartheid years.
Tough times.
They're very, very tough. It really completely fractured the society, and as you know, it's been a lot of work rebuilding that society, but they're making good progress. So anyway, so I knew after 3 years, I'm out. First of all, I made up my mind, Actuarial is not for me.
Yeah.
I found it, at the time I didn't, with the work I was doing, I felt this is not what I was called to do. And I was not sure what it was. So I said, let me go to graduate school and then I'll figure out.
You figured it out.
Yeah.
So what did you do for your master's?
So I did a master's, it was an MPhil in finance. So it's mathematical finance or financial economics at the University of Cambridge. Very, very rigorous. It's like a first year of a PhD. That's why they call it an MPhil.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was extremely rigorous, very, very tough. Very, for the first time, I felt I could fail. I never had that feeling
You
for the
were
first
not
time.
sure.
Yeah, because Cambridge doesn't have concept of, oh, you have a test next week. No, everything is an essay. I remember my first assignment was an essay. I struggled. Because remember now I'm trained as a mathematician, writing.
Now you have to write
your ideas. Because remember, when you write, people can actually see whether you're thinking properly.
What you're thinking.
Exactly.
Your line of thought.
So my first essay, I struggled. I actually had to go and I got a specialized tutor who took me on essay writing. I went through 3 or 4 sessions. Because I was struggling, I would spend until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. This essay is not coming out. It's due tomorrow.
Yes.
But after that training...
That's a very interesting point.
Yes.
Because what you're saying is that you knew you had a limitation.
Yes.
Essay writing is really not for me.
No.
But instead of letting that pull you down or just say, I can't do this thing, you decide, okay, there must be a way to do this.
Exactly, yeah.
Can I get someone to support me?
Yes.
So just talk a little bit about that, how we should cover up for our limitations.
Yes. I think what we should do, we should never ever give up. I mean, like in business, of course, I'll talk about my business story. Even as a leader, you know, you don't know everything. Yes. Surround yourself with people who compliment you.
Yes.
So, for example, in a skill set, in that situation where I was doing a master's degree, I needed to do very good essays. It was my limitation. I actually went and looked out for help.
Yes.
And I told myself, I must get to learn these aces.
Yes.
So I was not afraid. I said, you know what? I've got to learn the skills.
Yeah.
So I went, I put myself, in other words, you need to be vulnerable and accept that you don't know everything.
I have a shortcoming
I have a
here.
limitation.
Yes.
Yeah, and fill those gaps.
Yes.
Yeah, because if my aces were not high quality, I would never have gotten that
You
master's.
would have failed.
Yeah, because there's one person I remember, which was very sad. He came from LSE, London School of Economics.
Yes.
He was a very good friend of mine.
Yes.
He got a first class from LSE. Cambridge only admits people with first class. So if I had a second class, I would never go. Unless you're from Cambridge, for masters, you must get a first. So this guy, LSE with a first in economics, LSE is one of the best institutions in the world.
Yes.
He failed his MPhil.
What?
Yes. So
with his first class?
With his first class. So it is no joke. I mean, the standards. In fact, they used to say, they don't use textbooks. Textbooks are already out of... they're already out of ideas.
And anybody can use them.
Yeah,
Everybody else uses them.
We used to use journal papers. You know journal papers?
Yes.
The first time you read it, you've not understood it.
You're wondering, what is this thing all about?
You read it 3 or 4 times. It was journal papers.
You're feeling like a nursery school student.
Yes. The essay you write, you're given like 10 journal papers. You have to review and you write an original essay. And they had something called plagiarism.
Yes.
if you're caught that you've copied anybody's
something.
work,
Yes.
the following day,
That's the end of you.
That's the end of you. They were so strict because of the academic standards.
Yeah.
So everything had to be original. Wow. It was no joke. And our professors, some had done Nobel laureates.
There were
Nobel prizes, yeah. You go to a lecture, professor has got this award, that award, you're using maybe his book.
Yes.
It had the very best. So it was a very, very different environment.
But I imagine that also now set such a high standard for you.
Yeah.
That you really had to get to that standard.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about excellence.
Somehow.
Yes,
it was
yes.
about excellence.
Yes, it was
Once
about,
again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So.
Wow, that's amazing. So you completed after 2 years?
Yeah, no, it was 1 year.
It was 1 year.
It was 1 year. So when I completed, again, going to Cambridge, I actually got a fellowship. Yeah? So I was very fortunate we didn't go the Harambee. I'm not saying don't do the Harambee. For me, I always believed, so long as you get in, Cambridge was so difficult to get in, so I got in. In fact, I got in the first time I didn't have the money, the second time I didn't have the money. The third time I really wanted to move away from South Africa.
Yes.
I looked for that money. And I looked, and I looked, and I looked. I was very fortunate I got a fellowship.
So you are teaching?
No, fellowship is
How
like
does
it's
that
a
work?
scholarship. So it's a scholarship.
Oh, I see.
It's a
They
scholarship.
sponsor you.
Exactly. So I was sponsored by Africa Development Bank.
Wow.
So they had a program with the Japanese government, just like now the way World Bank has a program with Japanese government.
Yes.
To take, I think they were taking about 10 students from Africa and sponsoring them to universities overseas. Yeah. Only 10. So I remember probably there were 10,000 of us who applied, and out of the 10,000, I was one of the 10. Yeah, so I got it was a fellowship.
Yes.
So the money was much, much more.
Yes.
And one of the requirements of that fellowship, I had to come back and work in Africa, which for me was fantastic. So I was very fortunate. In fact, I remember taking a flight from Cape Town all the way to the UK to go to the University of Cambridge.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at that point, your parents didn't even have to struggle for school fees.
Yes. No. And I was working, so I also had a bit of some savings.
And you had a bit of savings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. They just, asked me, so when are you going? So I was very, very fortunate. And my belief has been, especially for graduate studies, if you're good enough, don't. There's a lot of money out there looking to sponsor, bright people. You should be able to definitely get funding.
Yeah, you just need to be diligent.
Exactly.
But also proactive.
Absolutely.
In looking for those opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't just sit back and wait for the scholarship to find you.
No.
You have to go out there and know these are the guys who have scholarships for this category of students.
Absolutely.
African women.
Yeah.
Some are for specific disciplines.
Yes.
There are some now for STEM courses.
Exactly.
Look for them and then, of course, apply for them.
Absolutely.
And you will get it.
Exactly.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Dominic, now you've finished your master's at Cambridge,
University
not
of
anywhere else. It's called University of Cambridge.
University of Cambridge.
I must pronounce it nicely.
Not Cambridge.
Not Cambridge, Cambridge.
Yeah.
So then, what next? What happens?
Okay, so firstly, let me say going to Cambridge was very transformational for me because Cambridge is a top university, in actually the Western Hemisphere, in Europe. Very, very, very strong. I mean, I was there with the brightest and the best. Very insightful professor, but also to understand how knowledge is imparted. Knowledge is not just about reading a book.
Global knowledge.
Global knowledge. As I say, we are writing essays.
Yes.
So you have to express yourself and defend your point of view. We had to read journal papers, which were very, very insightful. So for me, it was very transformational, completely transformational.
Yes.
So that's when I discovered this area called investment banking. I didn't know what investment banking was. Of course, I used to hear investment bankers were paid a lot. So when I was in Cambridge, that's when I knew how talent is desired by big organization.
Yes.
The Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgan, everybody would literally camp in the university. We used to have during from September, they're calling it Michaelmas term, from September to December. That was the first term.
Yes.
So all these organizations will come every evening. So we had a schedule. You're given a booklet. This evening who is there, that evening who is there.
Wow.
And they had like their own rooms. They were
the top firms.
The top firms. And then I remember going to Goldman Sachs when you enter, first of all, the music and the food, because now they're looking for talent.
Yes.
So you just go there and say, I want to work for these people. Yeah. You go to McKinsey. Yeah. So there was really, scramble for talent. And that's why financial services, I keep on saying, is driven by talent.
Yes.
You have to get the very best for you to go to the next level. So anyway, so when I went to Cambridge, I did very well. It was extremely transformational for me. But remember now, I had a fellowship from Africa Development Bank. One of the conditions was I work in Africa, unless I didn't get a job.
Yes.
So I identified an investment bank, because I knew now I want investment banking since you work in different deals. So I was looking for an investment bank with a footprint in Africa.
In Africa.
Yeah. So I look, as usual. I landed here. I tarmacked, people say, So I tarmacked, went knocking doors, and then I stumbled into a company called First Africa Capital. So a friend of mine who also went to Cambridge, was working in Citibank, introduced me to one of his friends in Citibank, who knew one of the directors at First Africa Capital.
Yeah.
That's how I got connected.
Okay.
So I went through interviews with First Africa Capital. I was very excited. It was a Pan-African investment bank, but it was a joint venture with UBS Warburg, which is a global investment bank. So after Cambridge, I joined First Africa Capital.
Wow.
And made a complete switch from being an actuary
now
to
you are in investment banking,
which I thoroughly enjoyed. It was...
You felt like you found your space.
I found my space.
And your passion.
Yes, because now I was working with business and I was doing different things.
Yes.
So investment banking is about advising businesses. You raise capital for them, or you advise them on a transformation strategy or going into new markets. Yes. So I'll mention we work on a couple of these, but there are two that I was involved in as a senior manager. And there's one with a very, very respected entrepreneur in Africa called Strive Masiwa.
Zimbabwe?
From Zimbabwe. I got to know Strive very well because we did a lot of fundraising for him.
That's the owner of Echo.
Yeah, it's called Echo. Now he's transformed his group. Is now called Cassava Technologies. He's huge. Yeah, huge. It's based out of London.
It was one of the first groups to start, the mobile.
Exactly in Zimbabwe. So we advised him. Remember, he went into a court case with. He was denied a license to start. So this big court matter, and then he won, and then he started the Connect Wireless Zimbabwe. Yeah. So that's when he appointed First Africa to fundraise for him, and then we acquired assets for him, all over Africa. So it was a very, very interesting journey. Wow. So I got to know his business, I got to know him, including others. So that was very transformational. We also worked, and I remember that one involved even raising capital in London. We went a couple of times, working with other investment banks there. And there's one where we advised Sanlam on the Pan-Africa strategy. Again, I was a senior manager on that. Sanlam wanted to go into Africa. They wanted help. So I remember traveling, we had to travel to almost 14 countries and do this big case and report for them. And that's what informed their Pan-African strategy.
So were you excited that now you are bringing back the knowledge that you got from this top global, the University of Cambridge? You're bringing it back home. So did you find that you are creating impact and you're building, the skills in investment banking and all that, which you had told me earlier? There were very few, that time investment banking.
Correct.
Not many people used to know what to do and what it does.
Exactly. So yes, I felt we're bringing a lot of skills. We also the business was actually had a very strong impact. You can imagine entrepreneurs helping them to raise money and helping them to fulfill their vision. I think the business was really doing some excellent work because raising capital was not easy. You either go to a bank, bank is debt financing, but you needed equity. So you need to go to investors who can give you equity. So we're on that space where there was a lot of interesting transaction, which I found it extremely enjoyable because it involved business and you're doing many things, not just one thing.
Now tell me, we are getting a lot of questions from people, especially those in startups. And they are asking us, I have the idea, but where does the money come from? So now, because you are in that space for a few years, and actually from very young, in your career, can you explain how does, especially a startup, what are the various options of raising money
Okay.
to do their business and to grow.
Okay. So let me say this first. What I've learned in business, first of all, entrepreneurs must be encouraged.
Yes.
I always believe transformation or progress in our society comes through various people, and one of the key people who make our society progress are entrepreneurs. I mean, we've mentioned the ones in the West, but even here, James Mwangi of Equity and Mr. Monga, we have a lot of entrepreneurs in different fields.
Yes.
So entrepreneurs make, including other people, sportsmen, they actually make progress to happen because they solve a fundamental problem. They discover things, etc., etc. So starting a business, I think, must really be applauded.
Yes.
If you want to start a business, that is fantastic. Now, the question becomes, where do you get money? The first stage when you want to start any enterprise, from my experience, you must look for your own resources. Banks do not fund ideas, neither can you even get a private equity fund to fund ideas. No. And that's a gap that most people have. Like even for me, when I was in corporate, before I got this entrepreneurial experience, it was, you know what, but the idea is good. Which bank cannot see a good idea? No. I've had very good ideas.
Yes.
Going to a bank, they don't fund you. Banks fund on the basis of a cash flow. Okay?
Yes.
If you want an equity, a private equity fund to fund you, they fund you on the basis of cash flow.
Yes.
So what you must do as a startup, if you have an idea, start with your own money, your friends, your family, or somebody who agrees with that idea.
Or your chama.
But start small.
Gets
and
money
focus on generating revenue.
Yes.
Once you start generating revenue and you now build a building block of the business, now you can go to, after 1 or 2 years, you can go to a bank.
So it's building the track record
And
demonstrating that the business model you are proposing
is working.
Works.
Exactly.
Because everyone is thinking about, okay, how will they pay me back?
Exactly.
Once I give them the money.
Exactly. So you must look for that money. And I tell people, before you go into business, save. If you work in corporate, save. Go there, small niche, start, and focus on revenues.
Yes.
Once you've generating strong revenues, you go to a bank. The banks will fund you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But we go to the bank with ideas, they don't. And I've done a mistake thinking, this idea is beautiful.
Yeah, but
you, Mr. Bank, you're supposed to fund people. They don't.
They can't.
They cannot.
Yes.
So focus on revenues. And then there's other thing about scaling your business. If you want to scale, that means you make it big. You must start professionalizing your business.
Yes.
You employ people with skills, okay?
Yes.
Who can help you run the business properly, so the business is actually generating cash flows and making money, not losses.
Yeah.
If you do that, then getting funding should not be too difficult. Yeah.
So now that you are on that of building people, getting the right people, would you like to talk a little bit about what we normally call the founder's curse? Because it's a big issue. Not just in our market here.
It's everywhere.
But I think everywhere globally, it's a big issue.
It is. So the founder's curse, the way it is, I'm starting this thing, it's very successful, I don't want to leave. That's it, huh?
And I do this thing very well.
And I do it very well. It is a very, very, very big problem. A very big problem. But the way I see it is, I think it's probably generational. Okay, not my generation, probably 2 or 3 generations behind, because of where they came from. I mean, there was nothing. Remember, there was no sense of security. Now you have this business.
Yes, and
it is
doing well.
Working, is doing well. There's also the fear. What will happen if I leave it to somebody? This thing is going to collapse. So we hang, and guess what? The thing goes down.
I can't trust anybody else.
I cannot trust. But we must learn from what other communities have done. If you look like some parts of the Asian communities, and I know very well the group that I work in is the part of that. They've been merchants for many, many years.
Yes.
Merchants being business people, and they've learned. They've gone through the same cycle. We're also going through the same cycle.
Yeah.
So what you see them doing is when a child is 10 or 12, even if somebody is running a dukawala, put that kid in front of the duka to learn the business.
In the shopping floor.
In the shopping floor.
Yeah.
Let him learn how this thing works. He learns, he makes mistake, but he's learning. So he's going through an apprenticeship.
And he's creating a passion
Exactly.
for that business.
So the question for us is, yes, I'm successful. I've got my children. At what point did I start engaging my children in this business?
Yeah.
So that's what we want to hang on. We've got this fear. So we must learn to start letting go. Because remember, going back to my premise, our time in this world is short.
It's
whether we like it or
limited.
not. It's limited. This business, you want it to thrive.
And you leave it anyway,
you leave it
at some point.
It must be business like, the big ones we hear in the US, America.
They were founded in those centuries.
Exactly. It's because they have structures.
Yes.
I think it's very, very sad that we have our businesses that have been founded through blood, sweat, and tears. When the patriarch goes, or the matriarch,
they can't survive.
It cannot survive.
Yeah.
So we need to start rethinking what is it that we're not doing right. And I think for me there are two areas. One is the apprenticeship. Let's start involving our children early enough in our business. Even if you work in the corporate,
yes,
you can go with yours. If you work in a corporate in future, you want your kids to go and do something similar.
Yes.
Take your kids to the office to see what it is that you're doing.
Understand what
to
you
understand,
do and how you do it and why you do it.
And why you do it. And then start to learn that number one, you're not going to live forever, whether you like it or not. That's the nature of things.
Yes.
Number two, you need to decide, do you want this business to live beyond you? And if you do, really, if you do, you must start putting those building blocks and say, yes, what is my succession plan? Get your kids involved at an early age. They will make mistakes, which is okay. You also made mistakes. It's part of the learning. Guide them. But that's start taking a backseat slowly by slowly. Slowly by slowly.
And allowing others to do.
Allowing others. By the time you're, to be honest, by the time you're 75, you should not be involved, in my view, you should not be involved at all in any management of anything. Don't even start a business past 75, you don't have the energy. That's my advice. It's late, and don't say, no, you just accept.
Dominic, but I can be the chair. I can be the chairman.
That's what I'm saying. You can be the chairman. Yes, you become the chairman. I'm not saying you leave.
Yes.
But
you watch from, you are not executive.
I said about executive. I did not say you go and retire, because for me, we come to retirement, I believe you retire from what? People should not retire. That's a different debate.
I retired.
You're retiring from what? But you're doing something else. You've not retired, Mary. You're retiring from what? Okay. You're following your passion. So, executive meaning running day to day. Did they
you are
pay?
Purchasing potatoes for the hotel.
No. Past 75, no.
You shouldn't.
You're a wise man or woman. Help the next generation.
And to think through the problems. And the strategy.
Yeah, even if you look at our societies, African societies or Asian, whatever, they used to have a session where the one generation was handing over to the next generation. And they will be given all the instruments of power, and they're told, now it's your turn.
And they are taught step by step.
We should do the same for our business. We accept. You're past 70, 75, forget about management. You're managing what? I mean, your ideas, it's gone. By the way, these people who are 20 years behind you, they are so smart. Like these days, I see like these Gen Zs. Oh my God, their knowledge of, artificial intelligence is much higher. So even for me to imagine I know everything is wrong. So I would say we have to accept at what point do we start and hand over. We must hand over. And I've seen, not to mention, I've seen very successful corporates, even in the Kenyan market. Very successful. They could have done much, much better if the person running them accepted, you know what, my time has come.
And it's time to
and then
pass the baton.
Nurture the next generation. So the next generation, they don't have to necessarily to be your kids. They could be the managers you have. Hand over the baton to them, let them take this organization to the next level, and then they hand over. So I find we still have more work to do, but it's starting to happen. It's starting to happen slowly. We could do a better job. I think it needs to be accelerated so that these failures that we're having could be avoided.
Well, I guess it takes time. But what I'm hearing you say is that we just need to share our purpose and our vision for the business with others, whether they are family members or not. and then allow them to continue.
Absolutely.
But we are still watching.
Oh, yes.
And guiding them.
And
overseeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not the doing.
Yeah, not the doing. And don't interfere.
And interference.
don't interfere. Let them make decisions.
Yeah, because the trends are changing. I mean, every day is a new day.
Yeah, let you be the bouncing. You can be sort of a bouncing. You bounce ideas off, but don't interfere. Let them run. Accept your time is up. 75. Start now going on those cruises. Now you can call your semi-retirement, Mary.
And you are leading by virtual calls.
Virtual calls.
What's going on? And they'll call you when there's a problem.
Take a trip, those things you never did. Go somewhere, travel, see the world.
Yes.
Yeah, do something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But let your business run by other generation. Your time is up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Dominic, now you're in investment banking.
Yes.
And you seem to be doing a lot in Africa. Yes. With the Strive Masiwa.
One of the clients,
and the others, So then, how long did you do this?
So I did it for about 4 years. But let me say that there are two people who really impacted me in Fast Africa, and I don't mind mentioning their names because they had a very, very strong impact. I had a boss called Kofi Ajapong Boateng.
Yes.
I have never met a boss like Kofi Ajapong Boateng. Kofi was extremely exceptional. He completely changed my view about business.
Yes.
I mean, I knew when I came straight from Cambridge, of course I was raw.
Yes.
Yeah, you may be the smartest,
You're
but
very inexperienced.
You're very inexperienced. He was a tough boss. That's why it's good to work for tough bosses.
Yes.
If you ask me, don't work for a boss who's not tough. I know by nature myself, I'm very pushy, work for tough. That's how you grow.
Because they push you.
They push you.
To your limits.
Kofi pushed me to my limits.
Yes.
And I went through a complete transformation, even today.
Yes.
I told you there's a book I'm authoring. I will make sure he gives a keynote in that book.
Wow.
He changed my view about business, but it was very, very difficult working for him.
Wow.
But he was exceptional. He went to Oxford. Brilliant.
Yes.
And he had a passion for Africa. I mean, he was awarded, I think, by the Queen. I know he's based out of London, but he's still involved in business in Africa.
Achiever.
Very, very. So I was extremely fortunate. So he was my boss. He was the group CEO for First Africa Capital. And then I had my immediate manager, Wajiko Mogane, who you probably know. Wajiko was a lawyer.
Yes, I know. I know.
So I learned a lot from Wajiko Mogane, how to write clearly. I remember my first letter, straight from Cambridge. It had a lot of reds.
Yes.
So Wajiko, being a highly trained lawyer, she went to, I think Georgetown University. She was very, very methodical, fantastic, lady.
Okay.
And she helped me to sort of think in stages and not to have gap. Even until today, I find how I draft my there is no single gap. Because she trained me how to think clearly. Okay. So those two, and of course there were others, the colleagues I work with, some I still keep in touch, people like Anthony Ndegwa, they really imparted quite a lot. So First Africa was, for me, it was actually quite transformational because it helped me to understand investment banking. Also my passion for business started from there. I said, now I enjoy business, and then I discovered now I'm enjoying building businesses.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that in our careers, we need one or two mentors.
Yes.
People who really change the way we think about things, the
Yes.
perspective about
Yes.
our careers, how we view things,
Yes.
The discipline
Yes.
of execution and things like that. Yeah. And that's what you got from those two.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was. I was very, very lucky. I mean, because I worked with the best. At the time, First Africa was a top investment bank in Africa.
Yes.
Because we had an office in Nairobi and an office in Joburg.
Yes.
We did all the big deals, and then it was acquired by Standard Chartered Bank.
Acquired by Standard
Bank.
Bank.
As you know the story. Yeah.
Yes.
But it was fantastic. I mean, the team of people who were there, very talented.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So where did you go after that?
So after that, I developed an interest in...
It's getting more and more interesting.
in private equity. Yeah. So those things called private equity, we had started a fund at First Africa.
Yes.
So I started getting an interest. What is this private equity stuff? It was now, we had this American firm setting up funds to invest in Africa. And that was the next thing we needed to solve as a firm. Because remember, investment banking, there's advisory bit, but you can transition and then start managing funds. And the natural funds were private equity funds. So we started to do a fund, but I felt we didn't have the expertise or the experience. So I said, let me go and get the experience straight from the source. So I went back to the UK again.
What?
Yes. It was
what did you go to do now?
I went to work for a boutique alternative investment firm. And I was reporting directly to the investment director.
In the UK?
In the UK, in a place called Chester, up the north. So I said, with this experience, you can't get experience from the book.
Yes.
So I said, let me just go there.
You need people who have done it or who are doing it.
Yes. So I went there, I did my other 3 years, and I said, okay, enough of this working out of the country. But it was very, very good. I worked with an investment director. He was called, he had a PhD, he was very, very smart. So I learned a lot about investment funds, how do you structure them.
Mobilization.
How do you mobilize capital, how does it work, and the training that I got, that's what helped me to set up all this asset management business I've set up. That has been very, very successful, as you know.
Yes, I know, Okay, so you stayed for about 3 years?
So I stayed about 3 years, and then at that time, so I got engaged. So I say, you know what, I've been too long, and they always talk about where the grandchildren come.
And I'm sure now the parents are worried. This young man.
I was a very liberal bachelor, and look, after having lived in the UK for more than 10 years, 12 years, you also get a bit tired.
Now. Yes.
I felt it's just time, to come home. So I came home.
Oh, you came back home?
Yeah, so I came home.
Got married?
Well, not immediately, yes, but I was engaged. So when I came, I worked for a consulting firm, I think for a year, and that's when I went to Britain and started the asset management business from a blank sheet of paper.
Wow. There was nothing.
There was nothing. They had insurance. They were so afraid this thing is not going to work.
Yes.
So the then group CEO showed me the office. You'll be in this office. Okay, so there was an interview, of course. I saw an ad. So the ad was investment manager. So I felt this is what I used to do in the UK. So let me just apply. Because by that time, I think South Africa had already transitioned to other things. So and the private equity strategy was no longer there.
Yes.
So I said, let me try this thing out. So when the ad, when this recruiter invited us for an interview, invited me and others, because the ad did not include the name of the company.
Oh, I see.
It did not include the name of the company.
It was anonymous.
If they include the name of the company and I saw insurance, I would have never applied.
You never have had any interest.
No. Because I worked for an insurance company in South Africa. Yes. I said never again. I found it too slow.
Yes.
Oh, it's too slow. And
it was not your thing.
That was not for me. So anyway, so when I went to this interview, so I asked him, so which company is this?
The recruiter now.
The recruiter, they said, it used to be called British. I said, British Insurance? I said, no, I'm not interested. He said, no, wait. It is not the insurance. They are starting a new thing. I said, really?
Oh, now you get a bit excited.
I got excited. So I got excited by starting this new thing. The challenge of starting. Exactly.
Oh.
So I went and I started. I've been starting business for other people.
Wow.
From
nothing.
From nothing. No idea. They did not even know what is this thing. They knew. They had some idea. Old Mutual had started something. They knew we wanted some investment. They didn't know. Yeah,
but that time I think they probably were the second to start.
We were second. Britain Asset Managers.
It was not common in this market.
No, we were the second.
Yeah.
Because the skill, the talent was not there.
Yeah, it was.
So I was very lucky.
And the market did not understand.
The market did not understand.
That space is.
Yeah, but Old Mutual was very successful. Well, Mutual started, I think, about 2 years before Britain started.
They had a headway because they had brought some knowledge
from South Africa.
From South Africa.
So when we started, Old Mutual had 98% market share. We had 0. So remember, I had a blank piece of paper.
You are a complete underdog.
Yes, and I was given a pad, and it was written Britac. I was told, good luck, start this thing.
We just want money.
And then Group CEO told me, it was
That's Benson?
Yes, he told me, but I don't understand this thing. So I should not go to his office for help.
And to ask for advice.
So I was on my own.
What?
I knew if I fail, I'm out of a job. I get kicked off.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to me. I had to make it. Yeah. So for me, it was a night. In fact, when I got the offer, so when I went to see him, he said, look, he's seen 3 people. He wants to give me the job. I asked him 2 things. Do you have capital? He said, yes. Do I have straight access to the decision makers? He said, yes. I said, where do I sign?
Okay. So you accepted?
I accepted.
Okay.
With nothing.
Wow.
So I started.
Was that a leap of faith or what?
No, remember now, I had been to the UK. I had worked in investment bank. I think once you work as an investment banker, even those who've worked as an investment banker, there's nothing you cannot do.
You have that confidence.
Yes, because it's
in yourself.
Yeah, investment banking, it's solving a problem.
Yes.
You're solving a problem for others.
Yes.
So you can imagine, we were raising capital for Strive Masiwa. Why should we fail to raise capital for him? He's given us a mandate.
Yes.
We were helping business to expand. Why should we? So investment banking gives you this go-getter that it must be done. You can do it.
I can do it.
And also going to Cambridge because it was so challenging and you survived it. So it gives you this extra confidence that, look, this hardship you can overcome.
There's nothing I can't achieve.
Exactly. Yes.
So long as I do what I need to do.
Absolutely.
We also have a lot of people who don't understand what it takes to actually start a business.
Yes.
Especially a regulated business in a market which is not formed.
Yes.
Maybe you can just explain what you had to do.
Yes.
You know, to make, I think from what I know, you started from nothing.
Yes.
And you made it into a what, 20 billion?
Yeah. So I'll tell you the story
asset
about
base?
Yeah. So let me tell you the story about
That's remarkable.
we're calling it Britam Asset Managers. So we were number 2. Started from zero. As I said, went blank sheet of paper. So I had to recruit, of course, the first thing is we worked on a business plan, the model. So I had to recruit the first team of, we're calling them financial advisors. At the time, we're calling them financial planning managers. I recruited a team of 5. So they were to report in 2 weeks. So we start off. Guess what? A week before I reported, all of them turned down. They said, oh, this thing is new.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, it's new.
They want security.
Yeah. None of them. And I'd given them offers. So I had to go back to the... None. So now I had to go back to now...
Again, you're on your own.
Again, I'm on my own. So I went to the pool. So now I started calling them directly and selling their vision. One-on-one. So I sold the vision to now a new team of 5. So let me tell you the story of those 5. All of them became CEOs.
What?
All of them. And if there's anything that gives me pride, is people who are recruited from down there.
Yes.
They have become CEOs while I'm still in the corporate, as it were, as a CEO.
Yes.
In fact, there's a gentleman who went to, very, very good gentleman, he became a CEO in Uganda and also became a CEO of stock brokerage here.
Yeah.
There's CEO of a health insurance business, Jerry Njomo.
Wow.
Used to work with her.
Jerry was among the 5.
Jerry was among the 5.
Wow, fantastic.
And she's risen. And then
she's done well.
Yeah, there's a wonderful lady, Joyce, who is also a CEO. All of them reported to me.
Yes.
There's another one who is also a CEO. So there were 5 of them, all became CEOs. So the pride that I have, this is the initiative. Remember, I had nothing, so I was holding the vision.
You only had a vision,
yeah. So
and that's what you saw.
Yeah, so they came, we started, and we worked so hard.
Yes.
We developed products. We had to market everywhere we were going. People are telling us, oh, Mutual has been here. And then there are people who are throwing mud at us. Those are small.
Who are these guys?
So the story is, we grew. From the day we launched our products, it took us 6 years to become market leaders. We were number 1.
6 years.
We were growing at 141% per annum.
Every year.
Every year.
Wow.
By the time I handed over the business to the next generation, we were managing 20 billion. We were number 1 with 33% market share, or Mutual had moved from 98 market share to 27.
You had taken significant share.
Business was working, it had contributed to it completely transformed Britam. Yeah, Britam now started actually growing.
Yes.
And phew, it just took off.
There must be something that you did right.
Yes.
You know, to take business from such an established player.
Yes.
Would you like to give us 1 or 2 tips?
Okay, so let me say this. When we started Britam Asset Management, we're very lucky because we leveraged on the Britam brand.
Yes.
Britam was very, very strong in distribution, if you remember.
They were strong in insurance.
Yeah, they were strong in insurance.
They had a strong brand.
Exactly, insurance. But remember what made them strong? Insurance retail, because of distribution.
Yeah, the distribution network.
Exactly. So
yes.
I learned distribution from actually when we were building Britam Asset Managers. So we had a very strong distribution network. We leveraged on the brand. Of course, we had the capital.
Yeah.
Because you need, regulated business, you need substantial amount of capital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
I would not advise anyone to start regulated business without a substantial amount of capital.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you don't have brand, it's about trust.
Yes.
You want to build this trust, so you better just leverage on brands that have established a trust in the market for very long. Yeah. So Britam was a very good run. Yeah. Of course, usual challenges, and I moved on. After handing over a fantastic business, which was doing very, very well.
So where did you go next?
So after that,
so that's after how many years?
So I was there for almost 8 years. 7 years. Yeah, it was a very, very good run. Yeah, so I got approached by UEP then. Now it's Old Mutual. So one of the directors of UEP called me once for lunch and said he wanted us to have a chat. So I said, no problem, we go and have a chat.
A director?
He was sitting on the board. As somebody who he's well known in the market, so he was sitting on the board. So he told me, let's go and have lunch. So we had lunch, we were chatting, and then he dropped the bombshell and said, oh, you know what, UEP is looking for a successor to the then group CEO. I looked at him and I said, UEP, that's more business. You think I can go and work there? I almost laughed. I said, that's a joke. But then I thought to myself, this is a group. So I started now researching about UEP.
Yes.
I discovered, my goodness, these guys are doing big things. They don't talk about it. They had operations in South Sudan, didn't even know. They had operations in Uganda. They were doing building. There's one coming up now. It's called the Old Mutual Tower.
Yes.
And then when I did my research, I discovered this is a deputy group CEO role, and I'll take over from the group CEO. I said, so I joined UEP. I was bold enough.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, Dominic, because a lot of executives, especially, they struggle with taking opportunities. Because, you are in this job, someone is offering you another one. So what are the deciding factors for you now to decide, am I moving to UEP or not?
Okay, no, that's a good point. But I must say, moves are usually risky. I mean, it's not to say that they're not. Because remember, where you are, you already have your network.
Yes.
Because I discovered UEP.
You've established yourself, you understand the business.
Yes. One of the challenges they face is I went there, I didn't have the network. And of course, there were people who had been there very long. So this person knew. So there's a lot of politics, which I managed. So you've got to be strong, you've got to believe in yourself. My view has always been, unless you get out of your comfort zone, you're not going to grow.
You're not going to.
You'll just be there. So decide, do you want to be in corporate, to be the corporate politician who is just, you're just staying around waiting for a pay at the end of the month, waiting to retire, which for me I think is a very sad story. We should be in places where we make a very huge difference. You should just not be there because, jobs give you security.
It's impact fast.
Build also your security, your savings, investment, etc. But make sure what you're doing is something you enjoy. And the day you don't enjoy what you're doing,
you are creating impact one day.
Exactly, create impact.
And you enjoy it.
And you enjoy it, So I would encourage, if you've got an offer and the offer is going to stretch you and you finish what you've done, because the other thing I tell people, don't be a job hopper. Today you're there for a year, following year, because you get offers
somewhere else.
That's like I get offers all the time. Perhaps somebody wants you to work for them, they see your profile, they want to give you the whatever. Try and finish what it is that you're doing. Okay? Make sure it's with the end, like for example in Britam. Britam was very, very successful. Britam Asset Managers.
Yes.
Before I decided to take, the plunge.
But you've left a legacy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And said, I built the business from zero
absolutely.
to 20 billion.
To market leader. 20 billion.
Market leader.
Yes. Yeah. So
that's something.
Yeah. So you need to also be bold. Don't be afraid to take risks. I keep on telling people, once you're in that sort of C-suite, you're always taking risks, even in business. Yeah. Some of the push that I find you have with boards is you have an idea, you want to have a business. Sometimes the board is so conservative. But if you're running a business, you have to take calculated risks to move.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So a good example is if, for example, the founders of Equity Bank didn't take that risk to set it up. The transformation that has happened, which, by the way, if you look at generation, this is a once-in-a-lifetime transformation. Because I know the equity story, and I keep referring to it.
Yeah.
That transformation would not have been there. But there were people who took calculated risk.
And risk, yeah.
Just like yourself in your career. And the day you think that, let me hang on to this job because it's safe, there's nothing like safety in a job.
You lose it.
Boards can turn against you. Boards can see you underperform, and guess what? You'll be shown the door. I have seen so many CEOs being shown the door, even C-suite people, because you didn't deliver. So make an impact, deliver, but if you feel your time has come, make the bold move. Because what is it that you lose? And what are you afraid of? So conquer your fears.
Yeah.
But unless you make that move, you're not going to grow. So yes, I'll encourage. So just weigh. I think the biggest fear is this security. So sort out your security issues from your investment, etc. But in terms of if it's giving you growth, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Actually, there's a quote that says that when people quit on time, it will usually feel like they are quitting too early, because it will be long before they experience the choice as a close call. Success does not lie in sticking to things. It lies in picking the right thing to stick to and quitting the rest. Do you agree with that?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
That's great.
Yes.
Okay, so now you've done UAP.
Yeah.
How long did you do that?
UAP, I was there for 4 years. So I joined as a deputy CEO for 1 year, and then I got promoted as a group CEO.
Wow, that was too fast.
Yes, but I delivered.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a big man in this town.
And there was no even dispute. Dominic is the next CEO.
But I knew I'm going there because I was to go to the CEO. And
that was your eyes on the ball.
Oh yeah, there was a bit of, to say something, even when I joined, my title deputy CEO. I said, I am deputy group CEO. What? I was very clear. I'm
not just deputy CEO.
So I did that stint. I mean, it was wonderful. I mean, I must say, I was fortunate. You remember the late, for me, it was this was a business run by entrepreneurs, the late Dr. Joe Andrew, who have a lot of
He was the
respect.
chairman.
He was a chairman.
Yeah.
Oh, he was he was cut above everyone.
He was great. He was a great
He was
entrepreneur.
great. I've never seen, very, very few. You remember he was trained in the US?
Yes.
This guy, he was a thinker. He never focused on small things. And because I have problems, people focusing on big things. Not worry of small things, you fight over politics here.
Yeah.
Those are things that pull you down.
So what's going to move us forward?
What's going to move us forward? So I was very, very fortunate. He was my chairman for close to 4 years. So you can imagine the kind of knowledge and skills I had. Now you have people like James Mugoye, who was very, very strong.
He was the CEO before you.
I took over from him.
The group CEO before you.
Yeah, and then there was the late Chris Kirubi. Who forget the late Chris Kirubi? I mean, Chris Kirubi was a phenomenal entrepreneur.
Yes.
Very, very driven.
Yeah.
You can imagine, I sat on all board meetings with him. So I know how he thinks.
The learnings.
Oh yeah, that was transformation.
Thinking.
Yeah. Now Chris, the late Chris Kirubi, and may his soul rest in peace, was fantastic. I learned a lot from him as a businessman, and these were greats. I can tell you. In fact, I hope their books are coming out soon, so the next generation can actually learn from these titans. So I was very fortunate. So I was a group CEO, and this. So when I joined UAP, we were in 3 countries.
Yes.
Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania. I joined as in the group. So my job was to expand the business into other countries.
Into Africa.
Yeah, the rest of Africa. By the time I left, were in 7 countries. So I grew a country each year.
From 3
to 7. Yeah, so
Amazing.
I was involved in Tanzania, that was an acquisition. And then after that, Rwanda, that was a greenfields. We tried an acquisition, it didn't work. We did a greenfields starting from scratch. We did DRC, set up a brokerage.
Wow.
And Zambia, we're just about to close a deal in Zambia.
Yes.
So I remember I used to travel quite a lot.
Yeah.
So it was very phenomenal. I used to attend almost 350 board meetings in a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
I keep on telling people, if you have a group, invest in a private jet.
I also did that in my role, and it's not anyone's cup of tea.
No. I say.
But you grow.
You grow.
That's
I know my passion. My passion is building business. And it was great. I built this group.
Yeah.
Where I learned a lot. I remember Kampala when you're opening up Nakawa. I was the one taking the president around.
Nakawa is the local market.
No, Nakawa Business Park. You know Nakawa Business Park?
It's in Nakawa. It's in a place like Yekomba.
Exactly.
In Nairobi.
Yes. So we did big things. We did this tower, the Old Mutual Tower. I was involved in it from beginning all the way to the end.
You also did South Sudan.
We did South Sudan,
Juba.
the biggest tower.
Yeah, because we used to find you there in UAP.
Yes. No, it was.
And you built even some real estate.
Yeah, we grew. I mean, by the time I left, the business was extremely profitable.
Wow,
that's
amazing.
I did my mark and managed the group politics.
Yes, it sounds good. Okay, but sometimes you also say that opportunities come disguised as an issue or as a problem.
Yes.
So some people would have seen, they are checking me out, they've picked somebody else, but you saw an opportunity to get into something else.
Yes, so I knew since I couldn't continue with that path, so I had to look for another path.
So tell us, what was this? What did you do?
So when I finished that, so I decided to obviously take a bit of a break. There are a few entrepreneurial ventures I was involved in, which gave me a lot of insights, a lot in terms of fundraising, and how investors, what to do, what not to do. And then I was also involved in a real estate project, real estate development project, which was very, very insightful.
Okay.
And then of course there was COVID.
Was that a startup also?
That was a startup. Yes. But it was focusing just on a project.
On real estate.
Yeah, on real estate. It was a large multi-family real estate. So. Of course, COVID came, though, the usual challenges, raising capital, etc. But there are a lot of learnings, But there's a team that, obviously continued with it, and there's a partner that we're engaging, and it should become completed.
Okay.
So there were a lot of insights, I think, during that period, and I'll say that was the entrepreneurial phase. I think for me, the insights were around how does this market work from a sort of capital raising standpoint?
Perspective.
If you're starting a venture, what problem are you solving?
Yes.
Is there a demand? What you're doing? And I think for me it gives me skills, a lot of skills around what I call alternative investments. Because even these things I was doing in terms of real estate, all those alternative investments, all these ventures, the digital financial stuff, all these alternative investments. So right now, I'm in a space where I can be able to mobilize institutional capital and direct them towards alternative investments. So in fact, one of the big things, in fact, it's the reason why I joined Jubilee Asset Management about 2 years ago, is to now help them, of course, grow as an asset management firm, but more importantly, drive this alternative investment sort of agenda, more around creating the assets, pooling capital from other, pension funds, etc., and in deploying this capital into very, very good opportunity and alternative investment. And because I've been there on the asset creation, I believe now I can do a fantastic job on this other side of managing, mobilizing capital and managing those assets, because I understand how those assets work.
You've really gathered the insights, the knowledge, and the experience.
Absolutely.
So, Dominic.
Yes.
You've left UAP group.
Yes. Now all mutual.
Now where are you? Now what next?
Okay, so once I did those projects, so in December 2022, I was received a call from the Jubilee Group.
Jubilee.
Jubilee Group. So they said they're looking for a CEO for the asset management. At the time, it was called Jubilee Financial Services.
Yes.
So I told this person on the call. First of all, I asked her, who gave you my who gave you my contact?
Yes.
Because at the time I was, not looking
You are not
for,
in the market,
yeah,
really.
Yes.
You've
I was
taken
doing
a
my own
break.
little projects,
Yes.
no matter how long they took. I knew, time will come and everything will be sorted out.
Yes.
But I said, look, I'll get you, let me think about it, but I'm going to get you a name of someone.
To refer somebody to you.
Yeah. So when I reflected on it, first and foremost, it came to my realization they were looking for a leader for an asset management. I was very intrigued that they didn't have a fledgling, the group did not have a fledgling asset management firm. And at the time I had done quite a bit, my projects had more or less, I'd spent all I could, and what was remaining, other people could take it and make sure it's completed. So I felt that I had a bit of time, and because it was really positioning an asset management, I felt this is a blank canvas.
Yes.
So let me take the challenge. So I decided I'm going to take the challenge, help the group to establish the asset management business, to make sure it's a market leader.
Okay.
So I joined in December 2022. So the first thing I did is we had to come up with a new strategy for the business. It had a team of 8. It was managing 20 million shillings in terms of 20 million for the retail. The retail side 20 million, but it was managing about 115 billion for institutional. So retail, we had only one product, the money market fund. So from a team of 8, there's a lot of building foundation of the business that we did over the last 26 months.
Yes.
So we've set up the foundation. So fast forward now, we have a team of close to 50.
From 8?
From 8.
Wow.
The 8 actually, most of them actually all left. So I'm now the oldest in the team.
Yes.
But I've rebuilt the business from the ground up. It's now extremely solid. Last year, from the 20 million on retail, we're now managing close to 13 billion shillings.
From 20 million?
Yeah, just in a span of 26 months. We introduced new products.
Yes.
We introduced a money market fund, USD, which is one of the fastest growing USD funds. So the business has done very, very well over the 26 months. And for me, it's just based on the things we've done, the foundation we've built, recruiting a team that is dedicated to the business, but also doing what we know how to do best, and that is offering investment products and services, and being the financial services partner to all our clients. So we have clients across, all retail, from high net worth to the mass market to retail investors. So the business, I think, is doing extremely well, and we expect it to be generating very, very strong revenue and profitability going forward. Yes.
Now, I want us to talk financial health.
Yes.
To be honest, it's a concern to me when I look at the data. For instance, the data I have, and you need first of all to confirm to me whether it's correct. It is seeming to suggest that in the last few years, from 2019 to 2021, our financial health has declined from 21.7%, which was still a bit low, to 18.3% in 2024. 2021, it was 17.1.
This is the saving rates.
Yeah, the savings. Generally, even the ability to support our livelihoods. We are talking about the general financial health.
Yes.
Am I able to pay for my basics? Am I able to, which is a pointer to our savings culture, our preparedness for the future, and meeting the demands of day-to-day requirements and all that, savings and all that. The ability to invest in livelihoods has also declined from 21.8 to 17.1. Now, when you look at the level of pensions, for instance, it's only at about 11.8%. Securities investment is 3.1. So is this telling us something? And what I want you now to tell me is how are you advising the market? How, if I was a customer, for instance, what conversation are we going to have? I know you like talking about the life cycle of investments. Maybe you need to tell us something about that,
Yes.
so that now we all are able to examine ourselves
Absolutely.
and see where we are
Okay.
and what we need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very important point. It's very, very important to build savings, and it is very important to build wealth during our working lives.
Yes.
I think the thing to realize is that we have limited time within which we have energy to earn an income.
An income, yeah.
And the time you are earning an income, we must make sure that you are investing sufficiently. So the day we stop earning that income, our investments
Yes.
can now generate income
And
for us
support us.
and support us. That is so fundamental. Otherwise, you're going to get into financial problems. You're going to get into real poverty. And
Yes.
we've seen in this country, because of the low saving rates, people retire and they become poor. So they're depending on their children. So, which is okay. The children, if they've got the means, they can provide. But I can tell you, there's going to reach a point where there's a generation. So, for example, like I see my generation, maybe generation behind us, where you have small family sizes, maybe the kids will be out of the country. They may be sending you the money, but it is time we start planning. How do we look after ourselves once our income earning years are gone? Okay?
There's a problem there because
Yes.
if we depend on our kids,
Yes,
our kids are also starting their families.
exactly.
And they have their obligations.
Yes.
And they also have their futures to
Ye-
build.
yes,
So even if they wanted to support us,
they might not be able to.
and we also used to a certain lifestyle,
Exactly.
aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what the point should be. We need to plan for ourselves.
To sustain
sustain
ourselves.
ourselves. In other
Yes.
words, when my earning years are gone, I should not be going to my son or my daughter and saying, you know what, can
Send
you
me
help
money.
me? Or, or I've fallen sick, I need help. We need to plan for ourselves, because the reality is our years of earning an income will come to an end.
Yes. at
Based
some
on
point.
based on the skills we have.
Naturally. Yeah.
Naturally. Once they come to an end, have we saved enough and invested to have an income that will support us? That is the first starting question. And the second question is, as we grow older, our health needs will increase.
Yes.
Because we're becoming frail, etc. What are we doing to plan for those costs?
Yeah.
Or are we relying now on our children, as you're saying?
Yeah.
They may not be able to do it.
They may not be.
So I think the first starting point is...
How do we build that financial security?
Yeah, and that's a very good point. So we need to start from the very beginning. So we all go, when somebody is born, he goes through a life cycle. You're born, you're raised, by the time you're 7, you're 8, you go to school. Once you go to school, you finish your schooling. By the time you're 18, if you go to college, maybe 21, you start earning an income. Okay? So your income earning years normally begin from 18 to about 21. You earn an income. If you're working in corporate, there's something called retirement. One day you'll be told, oh, you've reached this age, so you can't work anymore.
Yes.
And that is about 60,
Yes.
or in some cases 62.
Yes.
So what are we supposed to do as we go through this journey from we are born, we are 7, we are 15, we are 18, 21, between, let's say, 18 to 30, I'm starting to earn my first paycheck. What should I do with it? Should I go and enjoy life? Which is, there's nothing wrong with it. But from a savings point of view,
Yeah.
what should I do? And between 30 to 55, what should I do? 55 to 64, what should I do? So that life cycle, I'll group them into 4 quadrants.
4.
Yeah. 18 to 30, 30 to 55, 55 to 65, and 65 beyond.
Yes.
Okay? Those are 4. The first quadrant, when you start earning 18 to or 21 to 30, the first thing you must do, you must understand the concept of savings. So you don't earn an income, money comes, money goes. You're going to be in problems. Once you earn an income, the first thing you must do is pay yourself. So people wonder, oh, but I'm getting a pay. No, you're not getting a pay.
I reward myself.
No, you pay yourself. you receive
How?
the salary. You pay yourself by investing. So what do you do?
Oh.
you start from the minimum should be 10%. Whenever you get your first paycheck, 10% you pay yourself.
Yes.
That first paycheck you've not been paid. There are bills to pay.
Yes.
Yeah, or even if you're going out to socialize, you have to pay yourself first. You pay yourself, minimum should be 10%. You pay yourself by putting that money aside.
Yes.
That is saving. Learn what saving means. Saving means you put money aside, and it also means you work within a budget.
Yes.
So between 18 to 30, you must learn about budgeting. You must learn to live within your means. You must learn to avoid debt as much as you can. You must learn on how to save, and you must start saving. You start with 10 of your income, you keep on increasing. So your target should be to achieve financial independence. When do you achieve financial independence? And this is when people get confused. You achieve financial independence when your income that you get from your employment, you don't even touch a single shilling. Because all the money you've been putting in your savings, which you invest, generates an income sufficient to meet your expenses.
Yes.
Now you've achieved.
So the principal is secure.
The principal is secure. So in other words, you don't even need to touch your salary.
But the income coming from the investment is supporting your day-to-day.
Exactly.
expenses.
So that's what you should do. So you start by saving 10%, you go to 15, you go to 20, 30, until you have a pool of capital where the investment income is sufficient to meet your expenses.
To run your expenses.
And then you start again. So you have one pool, now you start another pool.
And the principal continues generating more and more.
Exactly. So within 18 to 30, that's when you start the discipline of saving. You start now saving.
Yes.
You create an emergency fund. Emergency fund is a fund that can meet 6 months of your expenses, 6 to 9 months.
6 months.
Yeah, 6 to 9 months if your job, you're transitioning jobs, etc.
Yes.
From 30 to 55.
Yes.
You now start building wealth. You continue with the saving, but this saving, you start putting money in a money market fund, like the Jubilee money market fund, and you make it automatic so you don't forget.
So you pay the money market fund before you start going out.
Exactly. So you pay yourself through a money market fund.
Yes.
You pay yourself and you make it automatic. So every month, 10, you say this year 10%, next year 20. Of your pay, the following year 30, until you reach 100%.
So what I'm hearing is that the first thing you need to overcome or that you need to create is the discipline.
Exactly. It is a discipline. It is a discipline. It's a discipline to save, a discipline to have a budget, to live within your means.
And go as per the budget.
And go as per the budget. Never ever exceed your budget.
Yes.
And my view has always been, we need to start teaching people when they're young, when they're sort of from age 7.
Yeah, when they're in school.
From 7.
Yes.
Teach your kids about savings and investing. You'll be surprised. These guys are very smart. They start learning.
Yes.
Teach them about how to earn an income. So by the time they're 18, 30, between 18 and 30, that is a golden age for them to have started the discipline.
Yes.
Now from 30 to 55, now you're building your wealth. So you start now expanding your portfolio in investment. From money market, you buy those plots.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with plots. Buy them. Because they're going to appreciate, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you have a plot.
The value is going up.
Value is going up. 30 to about 45. Buy those long-term investments. Put money in shares. But save and invest.
Yes.
Save and invest. Save and invest. Manage your risk. So when you reach 55, that's when now you start thinking of the so-called retirement planning. So what is my third act?
From 55.
From 55. 55, if you're in paid employment, it's going to end in 5 years.
If it has not already
ended. If it has not already ended.
You are restructured or early retirement. I took early retirement.
But I keep on telling you, you never retire. You're not in your third act. You're doing something very enjoyable. So there you start now reorganizing your portfolio.
Yes.
If you've got debt, pay them off.
Yes.
If you have a lot of things in now, those plots, start selling them.
You take the profit out of them.
You take the profit, put them into liquid.
Create liquidity.
Exactly, create liquidity. And that's the biggest challenge I think we face. What I've seen, there's a lot of wealthy people.
Yes.
But their wealth is tied up in liquid assets.
Yes.
I have big plots there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you have liquidity.
And you don't have income.
You don't have income. The critical thing from age 55 to 65, reorganize your portfolio.
Yes.
Make it more liquid, make it more safe. If you've got debts, pay them off. Make sure now you're targeting your income that's going to live on when your income earning years are over. Because they'll be over. Yeah. And then when you hit 65...
Dominic, no, before you go to 65, I think we need to hit the bull by the horn. Hold the bull by the horn. Where I come from, one of the things that we are told is you never sell land.
Yes.
When you buy it, you keep it for life.
Yep.
Maybe that's why we are landing into a lot of liquidity problems.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
No, I want to talk about
just a little
look,
bit.
and also go through that. I mean, as I say, I'm from that community, and I know some of the discussions I go through, encouraging my folks that there's that asset they're liquidated. It's not an easy conversation.
Yes.
But we have to do it. We have to do it because, yes, you have 10 plots and you don't have liquidity and income. Those plots are not going to give the income. And please, this is an advice. Don't start doing projects when you're over your 65. And remember, the one thing people don't realize, when you reach age 50, your cognitive decline starts. Cognitive decline means your mind is no longer it speaks. Sorry to surprise you.
No.
You start cognitive...
Dr. Edward Odundo was here.
Yes.
And he actually talked about it.
Yes.
How our mind starts now behaving.
Yes.
After a certain age.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you have cognitive... So if you start making tough decisions at 65, you're bound to make errors or judgment. That's the time you should be sitting in boards.
Not like when you are young and you could also take risks. You also had time to take risks.
You take and time to self-correct. At 65, if you did not start that project, don't start it at 65.
At 65.
If you did not, what you do, use your wisdom and now help the next generation. Your time is up. Yes. When I mean up is, that's not, you can do small projects, but not these big ones involving raising capital, etc.
Serious decisions.
No, that's too late because if there is an error, your room for self-correction is limited. You can imagine at 65, you're going there, you're taking a bank loan. What about if things go south? You're done. Yes. And I've seen people in serious financial crisis because of that. Yeah. So anyway, I think the idea of assets is good. What we need to do, we need to go to the next level. How does my portfolio look? You cannot have a portfolio, it's all illiquid assets. So it is not helping you. It is nice in a conversation, I have this, I have that, I have this, but at the end of the day, the portfolio is there to help you.
Yes.
Does it have, make sure you structure it, there's income to meet your day-to-day expenses.
Yes. In
case you're sick, and as we grow older, definitely we're going to be sick.
Yeah.
Make sure there's that income.
You can't avoid it,
Exactly. So you have to restructure your portfolio. When you're in your 30 to 55 years, have as much illiquid assets as possible. But when you reach 55, start consolidating. That plot that is there, yes, you should not sell it. But if you sell it, you put money in a money market fund. Money market funds are very safe. Very safe.
They'll bring income.
And remember, it will grow faster than that plot.
Yes.
But you have liquidity. If you have an emergency, you get it from there.
You can get from
Exactly. So we need to restructure our portfolio to make sure that we reduce the liquid, make sure 60%, when you're 55, 60% of your portfolio is liquid and safe.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's amazing. But if you look at some communities that have land, my goodness, the liquidity they have, it's amazing. Somebody can actually sell a house in some of these suburbs.
Yeah.
He puts the money in the money market fund.
They don't need to do anything.
Yes.
They make money when you are sleeping.
Yes. So you go and tell somebody, you've got this beautiful house in that suburb, you want to sell it. They'll tell you, Mary, are you out of your mind?
They'll think you are crazy.
And yet, all you've done, converted a liquid asset
into a more liquid asset.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So and you enjoy the income forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we need to do more of those things. We need to think about our portfolios.
Yes.
Is it working for us?
Yes.
Yeah. So that we don't struggle with our day-to-day needs.
Yes.
Yeah.
You said 65?
So 65.
Now you've retired.
So
now.
Now you've retired. You're on your third act. As
Yes,
I say,
yes.
retire from what?
Yes.
So you're on your third act. So there you should not have any. It's income.
No new
So
projects.
even if you do not have an income from, let's say, of course you should try and leverage on your skills to
Yes.
earn additional income, but you
Yes.
have an income from your investments
Yes.
that will cater for all your needs.
That is regular
That is
and guaranteed.
regular, guaranteed. You paid over your debt. You've downsized in your house. You know, that's the other problem. We
Yes.
build big houses in our 30s and 40s.
Yeah, when we had big families.
We had big
now
families.
all the kids have gone out.
You should downsize. Sell that big mansion and go to a small place because it's even easier to look after it.
But Dominic, you
Yes.
know what we struggle with most is
Yeah.
what will people say?
Now
Ati Dominic has sold his house
Mansion.
in Runda. He must have gone broke.
Yes.
He's struggling.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that?
You know, my answer is,
Public opinion.
and this is how I live my life.
Yes.
I live my own life, okay? I don't live on anybody's script. And that's why for me, even my conversation, if you get to know me, like we're good friends, you'll find I never talk about people, his ideas.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't care what you say. This is me. I have made my choices, so long as they're the correct ones.
And
I'm
I
happy.
know that's good for me.
I do not worry what they say. Because let me tell you,
Yes.
this world, oh my goodness, people talk about you.
And at the end of the day, you'll be all by yourself.
All by yourself. You came
Yeah.
to this world
Yes.
by yourself. I will
Yes.
go down to dust by myself.
Yes.
So who cares what they say? In any
Yes.
case, they are talking from a position of ignorance.
They don't know why you are doing it.
Exactly. If I sell my house in Runda,
Yes.
why is it a problem for you? You should be
Yes.
curious. Why are you selling this? And I'll tell you, I have a house of 50 million in Runda.
Yes.
My kids have gone to university. It's a big house. I am selling it to put this money in a money market fund. It's going to give me an income of almost 500,000 a month.
Yes.
That income I can downsize, buy a smaller house that I just need myself and my wife. Small
Yeah.
place. And I'm
Yeah.
free. I travel the world, see the world, do whatever I need to do. So, to be honest, for me, I don't live my life where I'm looking for, somebody to tell me how to live my life. Because if you start doing that, then you're in trouble.
Yeah,
Because now you'll be living like a community. You're waiting, okay, who is this one is saying?
Yeah.
Or, no. Live your own life.
And what I know also is that every single person you talk to will have a different opinion.
Exactly. They will.
So if you talk to 10 people,
Oh, yes.
there are 10 different opinions
Yes.
on how to do the same
Yeah.
thing.
So what you need to do, you need to have very close friends. Like I do have some very close
Trusted friends.
trusted who I go, any dilemma I have, I go to them and I know
Share
they'll
with them.
give me a good opinion and they'll be unbiased.
Yes.
Those are the ones I approach.
Yeah, it's
And
very objective.
Very objective. And they're not even more than 5. As men, we don't have, not like ladies.
So
Chamas.
2 are enough.
2. So for us, at least I know I have 5. I can approach 3 one-on-one.
Yes.
I hear, it's like bouncing off. Again, you don't want to go on a trajectory you discovered you didn't.
Yes.
But to go and, we're meeting a group of people, say this is what I'll do.
And they don't know where you are coming from.
Yeah. No. So my view is live your life, make the decisions that will make you happy. If selling your house in order will make you happy,
Yeah.
so be it.
Okay.
Because I have seen other people in other communities. That's exactly what you're doing. If they look at their portfolio, highly liquid. And then a bit of liquid assets. Yeah, why are we struggling ourselves, saying, okay, I have this, I have that, and you don't have liquidity?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's time to start getting that liquidity in our portfolios.
Yeah. Now, in Jubilee Asset Management, I know you have, and you've just told us the numbers, you have really grown the retail
Yes.
side of the business.
Yes.
And that's maybe one of the legacy
Yes.
that you'll be remembered for in that engagement. And I also know that you are very strong on the money markets.
Yes.
Now, can you explain for the sake of our viewers, and let's go basic here, what is the money market fund all about? Because people need to understand
Yes.
what it is,
Yes.
how does it work?
Yes.
Yeah, then once we understand that, because I can't make a decision on something unless I understand
Sure. Okay.
how it works.
Yeah, that's a
what
very
it
good.
is.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So going back to the pillars of investment, it starts with savings. So once you save, the question is, where do you save?
Yes,
You must save in a very, very safe investment.
yes.
So a money market fund is what we call like a collective investment skills, a collective
Collective.
investment scheme.
Yes.
So it's so-called unit trust, and it's regulated by Capital Markets Authority. So it's a fund where you pool investments from different investors. And then now you invest it together in assets, which are very, very safe. So money market funds invest in government securities, bank deposits, but they're very, very safe. Secure. So on average, if you look at like Jubilee Money Market Fund, is right now the yields are about 12.5%. That 12.5 or 12%, if you put, let's say even 100,000, it takes you 6 years to double that because of compounding. You do 72 divided by the 12, 6 years. If it was 18, it would have taken you 4 years. If it was 18%. That's why there's this thing, power of compounding. So going back to money market, so money market is very safe.
Before you go to money market, I hear the compounding has been described as the sixth wonder of the world.
No, it is.
And you need to explain why.
Power of compounding is the sixth wonder of the world.
Yes.
People create wealth from saving. Saving is, I would say, 30% of the wealth creation. Saving. The rest, 70%, is compounding. And we'll see from some of the slides. Just to give you an example. Okay. If you invest 1,000 shillings every month for 30 years, your total investment is 30 times 12,000, that's 360.
Show us the numbers.
Okay.
No, 1,000 shillings only.
Only. So you put it aside every month.
No, Dominic, you know, some of our viewers have complained and said, oh, you are telling us to save because you are earning a lot of money.
Okay, we can put it down.
I earn very little.
You can do.
So I don't have money to save.
Start with 50.
Now you are telling us you can start with 1,000.
No, what is an example? You can start with 50.
Yes.
Yeah, even 100.
Whatever is available.
Whatever is available.
Put it aside.
Put it aside.
Yeah.
So this is an illustration.
Yeah.
So it's 1,000. I'll give an example with 100.
Yes.
So if I invest 1,000 for 30 years without fail at 12%, you see initial investment? My initial investment is 360. Yes. That is a 30%. The 70%, my total investment is 2.38 million. 2.38. So that increase of 2.38 minus 360 is almost 2 million. Yes. From compounding. On year 30. So assume you started this at 20 years. Yes. 1,000 only. Yes. At the end of when you're 50. Yes. You will have your almost 4 million after having put away somewhere. Exactly. After putting away. And it's still growing. Exactly. It's compounding. Exactly. Yeah. You start with 100 shillings, is the same. Yes. In 30 years, you'll have spent 36,000. You'll have over 238,000. What about volatilities in the market? No, because I know markets also go through the lows, the highs. So remember, that's why we're putting it in a safe investment. Yes. You put in a safe investment like a money market fund, you can achieve this. Yes. Your next savings, you're saying, now you can put it in those equities with higher volatility, higher return. More volatility. Exactly. You can take more volatility. You can take more risk. Yes. Yeah. But so this is the power of compounding. So in other words, I put aside 360, but what I'm getting is 2.38 million. Yes. So that difference is because of compounding. Yes. So a lot of people are building wealth just because of this. You put money aside, interest, it grows on interest. Interest, it grows on interest, it grows on. So it goes, so you put money today, after the end of the month is interest, so it grows with interest. And the next time, principal plus interest plus interest. Yes. Wow. And then you find after this, look, I mean, you only put 360, but you have 2 million. Yes. Just from compounding. Wow. So taking advantage of this. So that's why time is important. You need to start saving early. And it's easy on your pocket. Exactly. Because you've probably just done a direct transfer to the money market fund. Absolutely. You don't even think about it. Yeah. So just imagine if you move from 1,000 to 10,000. So 10,000, that becomes 3.6 million. Look at what it will be, 23 million. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so this is power of compounding. Now, there's something else with power of compounding. What if I delay I say rather than doing it, I start at 30. No, when I'm 20, 20 plus 30 is 50, or 30 plus 30 is 60. I delay for 10 years.
Yes, you start at 30.
You start at 30.
Yes.
There is a cost of delay. So look at the next slide. I have invested 1,000 per month for 20 years, not 30.
Not 30.
At 12%.
Yes.
So my initial investment, total investment is 240.
And it's the same amount.
Same amount?
Yeah.
No. It's, instead of 360, it's 240.
Yes.
But look at what my value is 786.
Yes.
So my cost of delay, rather than the 2.4.
Yes. It's less.
It's less.
Yeah.
So I have delayed by 10 years.
Yes.
But look at what it's done to my investment. I have lost close to 1.7
The other one was 2.4.
Yeah.
Now it's 700.
Yes, I've lost 1.6 million.
Yes.
That is the cost of delaying.
It's a high cost.
It's a high cost. You just delay for 10 years, you do it for 20. Now look at if you delay now for another 20 years, so you only do it for 10 years.
So we start at 40 years.
You start
now.
at 40.
Yeah.
When you start at 40, you invest 1,000 shillings, 12% for 10 years. Your initial investment now, of course, it goes down 120. But look at your compounded earning. It's only 210.
It's only 210.
Yeah, so there's...
You've lost 2.2 million.
Yes, 2.2.
2.2 million.
Yeah, because of this power of compounding.
For losing 20 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is how people create wealth.
Wow.
You save and you invest.
Yes.
So you take advantage of the interest on interest.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So what you are telling us, today is the day to start investing.
Yeah.
Savings and investment. Today is the day.
Today is the day.
That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Today is the day you start investing, and then depending on where you are on the life cycle, make sure your portfolio is optimal. So if you do have lots of assets, you need liquidity. Start, obviously realizing those assets, and just manage your portfolio very well. And if you cannot, the experts who can assist you, people like Jubilee Asset Management, we can really assist you to manage your portfolio very effectively, like we're doing for other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Now, we talked about, in passing, about how we are raising our kids and how we are supporting them, career choices and all that. And one of the concerns is that we tell our kids to, you must do medicine, you must do law, or you must take a course in engineering, because those are the prime courses. And some of them end up doing courses that they don't like, or they don't resonate with, they are not passionate about them. What do you have to say about that? How do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think what I need to say is we need to realize as parents that the world has changed so much. When we were in school ourselves, and right now, those are two different worlds.
Yes.
New careers are opening up. Remember when I was in school, the thing about artificial intelligence was not there.
Yes.
Even computers.
Yes.
But now it's a new world, driven by technology.
Everything.
Content creation is a new source of earnings.
Yes.
I think as parents, that's what I'm doing with my kids, is I encourage them to pursue their passion. Of course, you guide them. Support them in their passion, rather than dictating to them, saying, you see, myself, worked in investment banker, I should be like me. We shouldn't do that. I think we should guide them.
Allow them.
I know,
follow their passion.
Exactly. I've got one of my son who is very, very, very driven. He's very, very keen on sports. So we're supporting him in his sports endeavor, but he will eventually become a businessman.
Yes.
Because also he has a passion for business. I'm a businessman myself.
Yes.
So definitely I'll help him and nurture him, and in future, exactly, I'll have projects that I'm doing, can do some of the projects with him. So I think our role as parents is really to guide them, rather than telling them, you should do medicine. No, let them follow their passion. Because yes, they may do medicine, but for who? They should do something that makes them happy. Because I think as parents, the most important thing is to have happy and fulfilled children.
Yes.
Who are following their passions.
Yes.
Whichever career options they've taken, it is their choice. Our job is just to guide them. Sometimes they may not make the right choice, but eventually they'll find out.
They will.
Yeah. Because to be honest, even for me, finding my path, it took me quite a while. I didn't know what I wanted to be.
It's very difficult.
Even if it's engineer, I know engineers who move to accountants.
Yes.
So the fact that they did engineering, that was a base.
Yes.
Yeah, even for me, initially I thought it's engineering, then I thought it was an actuary, but I've found it out over the years that what I'm passionate about is building world-class and leading businesses in financial services.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. I know you are the founding chairman of the collective investment schemes. Do you want to tell us about that and what do you do there? What does the...
Okay, so I think in my days in Britain, which was between 2004 and 2012, we started an industry association for all the fund managers who were offering unit trusts.
Unit trusts.
Yeah, so I was the founder chair of that association. So we were engaging with government, making sure that the issues of the industry are well understood. But over the years, that association merged with another one called Fund Managers Association. Yeah, so the responsibility of that collective investment scheme is now under
the Fund Managers
Association. Yeah, so I sit on the council of the Fund Managers Association because the firm that I work for.
This other one.
Yeah, and the firm that I work for, Jubilee Asset Management, is a member of the Fund Management Association of Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of lobbying, a lot of positioning, articulating issues with the regulator, the government, etc.
Would you like to give us a few highlights of the issues that have come? Because these are products that are not very old in the market.
Yes.
If we just look at them from an age perspective.
Okay.
So what would be the typical issues that have come up in terms of also regulations and all that?
Okay. So I must say that unit trust products now, money market funds now, compared to 25 years ago when they started, they're actually fairly well known. Not as much, but the understanding has really improved.
It's improving.
Yeah. So one of the issues we really push very hard is around taxation. So you find a unit trust fund does not pay tax on income or capital gain. Okay. So it's a very, very tax efficient vehicle. Yeah, if you have a rental housing,
you pay income tax.
You pay income tax on rent.
It's true.
Unit trust, you don't pay any tax.
They only charge a withholding tax.
Yes, that's on distribution.
I think, what, 5%?
Yeah, 15%. So when I distribute income to you, you withhold tax to the government.
Yes.
But remember, the withholding tax is you can net it off with some of your taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but in terms of do they pay tax on income or not, they don't. So your growth is actually pretty very fast. This compounding is much, much faster.
Okay, and that also means that the returns to the investor at the end of the day will be higher.
Exactly.
Because there is less tax.
Yes. Okay. So one was around taxation. I think the other issue we pushed a lot is around awareness.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of market outreach programs to make sure people understand unit trust products. There's some around just market conduct to make sure people in the industry are behaving the way it should be. There's one around who are the people selling unit trust to make sure they're qualified. So just making sure that the industry is well organized. So again, we don't ruin our reputation by having some players that are not doing things the right way. Yeah, so I think the industry has really come of age and you're seeing a lot of good things happening.
Can a money market fund or a unit trust invest in shares?
Yes, so you have different types.
Those are some of the questions people ask.
Yes. So you have different types of unit trust. So you have what I call low risk, medium risk, and high risk. So the low risk are the money market fund and the fixed income fund. The medium risk are the balance fund.
Okay.
The high risk are the equity fund. So if you want to buy shares, it is better to buy shares through an equity fund. And there are quite a few in the market. Yeah, so that's how you park your money. But if you want stability and safety, no volatility, money market.
Because the investment is in government securities.
Exactly, government securities, very, very safe.
And bank
Yes.
deposits.
Yeah. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with equities because over the long term, you build wealth in equities. Yeah, both local and international equities.
So long as you look at the fundamentals of the business.
Exactly. And this age of 30 to 55,
you can take risks.
please invest in those equities.
You can
both
take risks.
Local and offshore. Offshore, I was seeing the some of these share prices of Facebook, of some of Amazon
and Tesla,
including Bitcoin.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It's highly volatile.
Yeah.
But if I'm in my 30s, put 5% of your portfolio in Bitcoin.
You can take a risk.
You can take a risk because Bitcoin is volatile.
But not at 55.
No. You need the income.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin, yes, is volatile. But you know, if it's safe, if you use the safe vault, you can make quite a bit of money.
You can make money.
Because there are only 21,000 Bitcoins.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, those are very good tips. Okay, now, how do you want to be remembered? How are you creating your legacy?
Yes, how am I creating my legacy? Okay, so I would say I'm creating my legacy in a couple of fronts. So let me start with the first one. That is myself as a person, within my family, as an individual.
Yes.
I really want to be the best version of myself, to be somebody remembered who's done the very best that he could, who was given these talents by God, and I did the best for humanity. I also want to be remembered as the best dad to my kids.
Wow.
I've got a very, very good relationship with them. They're wonderful children.
Wow.
Best husband to my wife. I've got a very wonderful wife called Dorothy.
Yeah.
And that we live this, we took advantage of good opportunities. We soldiered on during the bad and the
Even
good times.
through the hard times.
Exactly, because there'll be the challenging times. And that I gave my kids all the very best in terms of values, not just giving them money, but in terms of value. And I've laid a strong foundation for them.
The values are even more important
Exactly.
than money.
Exactly.
Money they can look for themselves.
Exactly. The
if they
values
have
of
the right
hard
values.
work, integrity, know thy neighbor, looking after each other. Like I encourage my kids, if they've not spoken to each other, they're still young, have you checked on your sister, how your sister is doing?
How are they doing?
Yeah, have you, FaceTime and all manner of things. So that's the first quadrant about, obviously an individual family person and having lived my life in the right way. The second quadrant is around sort of work that I do. And my work is even this project, this phase that I'm in with the Jubilee Asset Management is really helping them to build a business. Definitely, I'll complete it at some point. And I'll do others.
Yes.
So when I look back in my 75, when I'm in that cruise, having retired,
Yes.
I want to see that I was given this opportunity to build businesses. I've built for other people and I've also built for myself. Because I will work on a few projects for myself, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And I did the very best I could. Some of them I might not have gotten the right deal. You know how corporate is, sometimes people undervalue your contribution, but you take it in your stride because you're there for a short while. So I want to be remembered as this guy who was given this opportunity to build world-class business in Africa. He not only did it, but he left a lasting legacy. This business have changed people.
Yes.
We have contributed to Kenyans understanding savings. We have contributed to Kenyans starting to save. We have made an impact on people building real wealth and actually securing their financial future. Okay? And and also want to be remembered as somebody who built businesses that made actually a contribution. It employed people. It made a contribution to society. Because I've been involved in the business space for very long. That's my passion. Yes. Wow. So now I'm just building this. Once this is done, there's going to be others. Okay. And then the other sphere of my life, in terms of, so there's a corner of family. There's one of work, and obviously. I'm talking of others building wealth. Yes. I should also be building wealth for myself.
For yourself.
Oh, yeah, indeed. And leave that wealth for the next generation. Yes, others will have failed. The fun is around just making sure that I lived a balanced life. So it's not all work. I also pursued passion that I'm passionate about. Giving back to the community. I'm passionate, reading widely. hobbies that I have.
Yes.
Yeah, making sure that I pursue them so that I feel my life is fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I want to read for you a quote by somebody called Edmund Burke, who says, "If we command our wealth, we shall be rich and free. If our wealth commands us, we are poor indeed." Do you agree?
Very, very inspirational.
Why do you agree?
I think because it's as we build wealth, it's more around what is our wealth doing for us rather than it controlling us. Even money for the sake of money,
Yes.
doesn't mean anything, but it needs to lead to something. It gives us independence, help us to achieve what we want to achieve, and lead us to the next stage of our lives, of our careers.
Yes.
So now I fully agree with that.
And help us to make the lives of others better.
Yeah. And at the end of it all, how I want to be remembered is what difference did I make to humanity? To somebody. Starting with my children, my family, my
those close to you.
Yeah. And even the community that I'm in. What difference did I make? And did I make a positive difference? Did I uplift the life of others?
Of somebody else.
Yeah, because this life, at some point,
it's short.
It's short. We'll say goodbye.
It's very short.
Yeah, and the question is, what do you want to be remembered? So I want to be remembered of those things. That I built businesses that made an impact to others. I helped others to build their own business, and I've been involved in projects which were very successful, and I'm leaving a legacy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and build a generational wealth so I can leave to the next generation as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it may not have too many zeros, but it doesn't matter. So long as it's all well acquired.
And you are really proud of what you've acquired and what you've done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now you're on the parting shot.
Yes.
What's your parting shot to us?
So my parting shot is, look, I think we're given this wonderful chance. We have good health, we've got a good life. I think we should grab it by both hands. We should take risks. We should live a life where we're true to ourselves. And we should really, really go after our dreams.
Yes.
We should not be distracted. There's going to be bumps along the way. People is going to discourage us. If you're working in corporate politics, don't lose sight of your vision. Of the goal. And go for it.
Yes.
Go for it. Yes. Do the right things. And don't be the guy who's bringing others down.
Yes.
I see a lot of that in corporate. And personally, I don't like corporate politics. But if you want to play politics, I can also play politics.
By the way, I get that question a lot. People saying, there's so much politics in this. How do you handle it?
So I think
what's your advice to executives?
My advice to executive is, just focus on the work that needs to be done. And the politicians, put them in their place. We know who the politicians are. Why do people play politics? I'll tell you. And somebody told me, actually, my former boss was very insightful, an old boss. He told me, people play politics because they want to entrench their positions and they want to move ahead.
Yes.
So the biggest political players in corporate location are the underperformers.
Yes.
No question, underperformers. So if you find somebody playing politics, go to look at his work. Zero. You find he has deficiency. You find he's very deficient in his craft, and he's not delivering 100%. So he's fearful. So how do he entrench his position? Play politics. I never play corporate politics. I know the politicians because I know I can deliver.
Yes.
Yeah. And my final thing is, so focus on your task. And the other thing, and this is an advice I give to my team, be the master of your craft. If you're a lawyer,
yes,
be the best lawyer
in Africa. Be the best lawyer that the world has ever produced.
If you're the sweeper, be the best sweeper. If you're an accountant, be the best accountant. For me, I am a businessman building businesses. I have built asset management business that are very successful.
Yes.
Any business I go to, I've just in business for 2 years. Look at the growth, 500, everybody's surprised, oh my goodness, how do you do it?
People will be looking and saying, that's Dominic.
But it's because I have learned my craft. If you come to my library in my house, every book that I lay my hands on what CEO should do, learning from others, I have done it.
You have.
So learn your craft. Once you learn your craft and you're good in corporate, the politicians will give you way.
Yes.
But if they've come to your path, get them off.
Yes.
So they know you don't play those politics. Even for me, people know.
You have no time for politics.
They know they don't play, but if they want to play politics, I can play those politics.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you deliver on your work. So don't be afraid of those politicians. Most of them are underperformers. If you're a performer,
yes,
that's it. And let me tell you one thing about business. No board will fire you if you deliver. No one. No one. So be the person who delivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
People get fired because they don't deliver.
Yes.
Of course, those who play politics, they play politics to edge others.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to deliver. So, but if you learn your craft, you can deliver.
Yeah.
So learn your craft, deliver. Politicians, keep them on the side, achieve your goal. If your time is up, go to the next project.
Okay. That's Dominic Kiarie, the Chief Executive Officer of Jubilee Asset Management Limited, telling us to stay focused on your goal. Keep your eyes on the ball. That's what I heard him say. So thank you so much, Dominic, for your time.
Thank you, Mary.
We really appreciate you've given us so much time. You've shared your lessons, your journey, and we've picked the lessons, and we look forward to executing them. And of course, creating financial independence for ourselves and financial security. Asante sana.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And all the very best.
Okay, you're most welcome.
And keep it up.
We appreciate your time.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.